And like that, we're back with another Unpack presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
The G Shit Podcast.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
oh man, maybe is this the post-election special? Are we donning a new Don? I don't know. I'm gonna leave all the puns to the side. This is freshly off of Donald Trump just now winning the presidential election, and yeah, we have a lot of feelings that are being felt across the United States. So this will be an episode where we just kind of solely talk through them, the good, the bad, the ugly. Are we going back to slavery? I don't know. Anything is possible. It sounds like when I log on to social media. But before we dive into this topic, Trump has won. Now what? I'd love for our amazing panel to introduce themselves. Starting at the top, G, is that you got red on for a reason or?
Nah, I just got red on because I'm repping the school today, man. That's all.
Okay,
That's all.
okay.
No.
Oh, this your homecoming. I got you.
No subliminals. It's G, host of the G Shit Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and fuck everything else. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast. Just search GSHPOD. Ha.
Johnny, talk to him.
What up? It's your boy Johnny P. 1/3 of the To Be Fair Show. Catch me there Sunday 4:30. Looking forward to this one. Definitely a very interesting, night. But we're gonna talk through it. Looking forward to it.
FBA Zone, talk to him.
What's good? Trey, I'm just over here looking for another opportunity to intellectually spar with some homies. I love, we're all independent. So unlike, talking to, a lot of, liberals and everything like that, or, classic, traditional Democrats, we're able to have like conversations, we may not disagree, but we always, we're always able to have a great discussion. So looking forward to smoking that K-Hop pack tonight. Let's go.
And from the home of the Bisons,
what's up,
Charlotte,
everybody?
hometown hero. A Black, talk to him.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy to be here. Crazy time to be alive, but I know we got a lot of good conversation and thoughts about to flow through. So let's get it.
All right. So I guess just a temperature filler really quickly. I guess Trump has won. I'd like to know, just from y'all own personal POV, what was your initial reaction and the reaction of those around you? Whether that be social media, like you might have a partner, you might have, friends, family that you communicate with in general.
Partner.
Let's not necessarily, or a girlfriend or a wife. Is that better? I think that conservatives tend to not like the word partner for some reason. I think that they believe it's like a co-op the word. Let's not get there yet. We got time to get all the way down the funnel of the whys, right? But nonetheless, let's try and keep like 2 minutes on it because I know that this could be its own long-winded thing. But Trump won. What is your initial reaction and the reaction from those around you? Start with you, G.
Yeah, man. Initial reaction, I was thinking that this was going to be the outcome the majority of the time. I do feel like more recently in the past few days leading up to the election, there was a lot of media trying to suggest that Kamala had a way stronger foothold on things than what she actually did with the Iowa poll. They tried to market that and some things and say, oh, she's doing so well. She ended up losing Iowa by a pretty significant chunk. So, I always thought that the Democrats just ruined this from the start. I didn't feel like they put themselves in position to really win anything on the when Biden chose to run again for president, and that's really was downhill from there for them. And then in terms of reaction, man, I see a lot of strong reactions, man. Emotions are high. People are fearful, concerned, worried, especially women. I have to say that's where I'm hearing most of the reaction from. And look, I'm not a woman. I don't really know what how they feel about abortion in their bodies and stuff like that. Like I don't know how how much that means. I don't relate to it as much, right? But that's another losing point on Democrats. They thought abortion was going to be a number one item, ended up being like lower on people's lists, and that's what they were kind of harping on the whole time. So I see a lot of educated folks hurt, I will say, and a lot of women are hurt. And if you listen to the educated folks and the women on social media, like the world is going to be over here shortly.
Gotcha, Johnny.
I think it wasn't a surprise what happened if you was, looking and paying attention. Like me, as a true centrist, I really didn't have too much of a reaction to it. I think we just gotta, keep on pushing. At the end of the day gonna end, like my girl Glow say. But I definitely seen the reactions. People around me, it was just somber. I've seen happy. I've seen celebrations too. Definitely at work. My boy Trey down here turned. So it's interesting. I'm in the middle. I'm still looking to see, which way we gonna go. I definitely think we still got the real work is, starting after today. But
So Johnny, I guess just to ask, you mentioned Glow. Did the Glow performance the night before the election, did that tip over the scales for you?
nah.
FNF didn't do it for you.
Nah.
Okay. All right.
Nah, not at all.
Got you. Trey, talk to us.
Man, I'm probably about to pop this bottle because I'm fired up, and it's because Kamala, or she's old news now. She lost, and I'm a little sad because Trump won, because like John said before, like it's really sad that he's the best, like as far as like his policies and who was on the ticket. And we had to really vote for him to avoid a lot of these policies that Kamala was bringing forward. So it's sad we had to do that. So I don't want mine.
And so by you saying we, is that an omission that's who you chose over the in this election?
No, man, I'm not gonna lie. I looked at that ballot. I came in late. I was barely made in time. They were probably ready for me to go, but I looked at that vote for like at least a good minute and a half because I wanted to push Trump, but I just couldn't do it, man. I had to. I voted brother Dr. Cornel West, president.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Kind of threw away my vote, but he was the only black person on the ticket, or especially FBA on the ticket. So feel like we can hold him accountable. I saw him speak at USC when I was there, and he's in favor of reparations. So, and then I don't want to reward bad behavior because I don't like the people that are around Trump, but I don't like the people that are around Kamala either. So that was kind of a wash. But the main thing is just showing up and being a black person that voted, that did not vote against the Democrat, because the main goal of this election was to train the Democrats that they cannot take us for granted. Like, you can't sit on the couch and say, I'm not going to do anything that's only going to help black people. No. And then like expect us to just get together and line up and then carry her. Because black people, if we had that same energy we had for Obama, I think we could have swung some of these swing states for her, but a lot of us just didn't show up. So, that was my main goal in the election. That's why I'm excited, because we're kind of getting off of this like this treadmill, like going nowhere, where we don't ask for anything for our vote, and then we just train them. We train them for generation after generation that they don't have to give us anything. So this time in the election, I'm so excited because it may take them one more election, but like once we make a new policy where you have to give us something or else you can't depend on our vote, you can't shame us, you can't call us misogynist, none of that stuff, then that's in the right direction. So,
gotcha. A Black, talk to us. Yeah, I heard somebody might have took a day off just to troll him. I don't know. I heard that through the grapevine. It might not be true. I don't know. Talk to us.
I already knew going into the workplace it's gonna be a lot of sad people, a lot of the same stuff. Also, I didn't really want to be around that because I'm not as empathetic as I feel like a lot of people need, and I just like, well, let me just take the day off too, so I don't be insensitive towards you. But my reaction was like, I wasn't surprised. Like I told niggas, like, live in this microwave trendy culture where people just pay attention for a short amount of time, but if you've been paying attention throughout this whole process, a lot of people are not really surprised. Like this thing been lost from the jump. Like you can't say this dude is an attack on democracy and you don't give people the chance to choose their Democratic nominee. And like we've been telling you, the nigga was old for almost 2 years and to get Biden and let's find a new replacement. And all of them got in line and was talking about his health is cool, he's sharp, he's wit, and then boom, that shit deteriorated so fast they had to pivot. But the first red flag was installing her and you didn't give people the choice. That turned off people. And then you get her in there and this comes to zero focus on Black men, Latinos, white women, and white men are still the biggest voting bloc. So when you out here parading Megans and Glorillas, I see, what do you think you're doing to white women's security level? They thinking, is this the country's going to become the fucking BET Awards? And so the surprise.
Hey, Black. I think you about to empty the whole clip. I want you to save some of it. Just save some of it. You emptying the clip though. I listen. G said that you was going to try and go for 50. I can see it already. All right. So it sounds like, generally speaking, you also were saying that the social media impact as well that you're seeing around you. You wasn't as empathetic, and it was kind of sad.
Yeah, the social media thing, because I think it was a lot of surprise because the support is loud on social media, but as you see, the other side had a lot of support too. But when you're being bullied, when you're being chastised for your opinion, you stay quiet. So everyone's like, who voted for him? Lots of people, but they didn't feel safe enough to dialogue with y'all, so they get quiet and they went and decided their vote while everybody was rah-rah online. But that's a small portion of people online, bullshit. Mm-hmm. So I think they got kind of caught in that social media hype of her winning the social media wars in their circles and their algorithms. But the world is much broader and bigger, and a lot of people wasn't fucking with a lot of the things that was happening, So I mean, and then with the women, you got women who didn't vote. A lot of women, they voted. The ones that did voted overwhelmingly for her, of course, like they always do. But so they're sad, understandably. But it's a lot of women who still quiet about it, but they're just being saying like, "Hey, I told you so," or "Oh, I didn't vote because I didn't like her," or "I didn't vote for her." Like so, but they don't still feel safe to like.
So let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna play this meme. So did you get that from any of your Howard alumni, ladies? Some of those DMs, it's like, I ain't really feel it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're not loud about their criticism, or but they're there, like they not monolithic. So it's like, I don't fuck with bro either. I don't fuck with her either, and they got reasons too. It's like I said, the supporters are really loud to the point where it kind of clouded people to think like, oh, she might really got this, but no.
Gotcha. So as we're speaking about social media, the social media outrage, I'm gonna push play on this, and then we can kind of like start guiding the conversation.
Yo, I'm scared to go to sleep. I might wake up a motherfucking slave.
Yo, and this is one of the main reasons I've been going in since day one.
We ain't got to go into shout out to Derek Jack. Derek, what is it? Derek Grace. But yeah, nonetheless, I guess I'll ask this question. You did, if you just had a black Facebook, you probably started and you woke up to a lot of something that might not have been in video form, but I've seen a lot of posts that echoed very similar sentiments. So let me ask y'all right. Let me ask y'all this: did we put the stakes too high inside this? And will this be the last vote or die election?
I mean, I think obviously on both sides, I think that was part of the divisiveness that they used was if this doesn't happen, the country's over the fascists, and I think that was part of the sale on both sides. And I think black people again fell for it. And like I said, there's always another side, and there's always the next day. And I don't think we can get too caught up because we had 45. This is just 47.
Got it.
I don't know how you can say the stakes are too high when Kamala's like agenda was so destructive. Like, that's the main reason I'm excited, because she had like no plans of slowing the flow of migrants to the border, like none at all. Like she was gonna
So I guess Trey, to kind of direct you towards where I'm speaking, by saying the stakes is too high. I think that you've heard multiple times like he is a direct threat to democracy. He is a fascist leader. He's going to turn America into a dictatorship. Like it's he like if he gets elected, they're going to bring back slavery. That they're going to outlaw federal abortion. Like these big sweeping things that kind of went through the realms of hearsay and rhetoric. That if you turned on almost any black platform, they made it seem as though if he was elected, it's going to turn to 1700s again, almost immediately. And that's what I mean by like, are we putting the stakes too high with just individual, like presidential elections, even at that? That's more so what I mean.
Yeah. So you're talking more about the fear mongering, not so much the actual policies, the ramifications of the policies, not like, just like kind of like when they put a little extra on some things.
Yes, yeah. Like there's a difference between saying, I don't like that immigration policy, and he's going to be or he or she's going to be a dictator, or they're not going to, they're going to start another riot for the if they lose the election. It's going to be a bloodbath, and that person is doing Hitler style fucking like y'all heard all the rhetoric Hitler like Nazi style performance. I forget what the rallies. There we go, rallies.
I don't know what you're saying.
But yeah, so more so that's what I'm saying. Like the big letdown leads to a woman online saying, I don't want to go to sleep because I don't want to be a slave.
I got you. Now I understand.
Yeah.
So if I think in that regards, this was good because I'm kind of disappointed that so many people believe that, even though we have a constitution, even though we have all these other things, even though we survived way worse, even though we've seen them in office 4 years already, they believe that they must vote for Kamala regardless of policy, just because they thought that Trump was going to bring back slavery. So this is, with him back in power again, this is an opportunity for people to, I hope they remember like what they really said would happen. So when it doesn't happen, they recognize that these politicians will lie and try to get you emotionally wild up, because that's how they deal with black people. They try to appeal to our emotions. They try to bring in entertainers and shame us, like ancestors shame us into voting for one party without considering the policy. So we become like this like political like plantation property. So and then they use that through, it's almost like, oh, you don't want to leave Massa Biden's plantation, because down in Massa Trump plantation, they'll do you way worse. And that type of mentality where it's the same, tactic that they've always been using. So this election is that's another reason why I'm like popping balls and so excited, is because we're seeing more people, especially I guess the youth, not fall for that. Like G said, educated and women. I'll say also like elderly and LGBTQ, and maybe like the black immigrant class. But other than that, I didn't really see too many like young straight black American men who weren't involved in any Greek organization. I didn't see one person in that group that was pro Kamala.
No, I've seen enough of them for sure. There was yeah. Nah, Facebook's is a panda fest right now for sure.
But you can't tell like a black immigrant, like you've already said that. So
all right,
you don't know.
I'm not about to get into the back and forth with you. Yeah, it's all right.
Just to be fair.
Okay, listen, hey, we'll just go with that one. I know a bunch of black immigrants. Who has not went? Hey, Black, talk to us. Did we as a people put the stakes too high in this election to where we end up with letdowns, like crying on Facebook that slavery's coming back and I don't want to go to sleep?
Yeah, man. the Fear Olympics were extreme, and to the point where it becomes a joke because then you can't be this country, this America, the strong, we can beat anybody type, and then at the same time be a country grounded in fear, like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? We're gonna lose. Like, which one is it? Are you strong? Are you not? So it's like, why are people crying? This is America. Like, what is? And then they're like, all right, we're gonna go back in slavery. A lot of the fear mongering they're using is regurgitated from the last time he ran and he won. He ran and he won. Your ass ain't become no slave. I've been outside today. I was in a restaurant surrounded by white people. They wasn't thinking about me. They wasn't trying to string you up. So yeah, all right, policies and all of that. People don't really care about that stuff. All this shit came down to is who you like and who you don't like, and who can tap into your emotions. Because at the end of the day, you ain't got no control for real over the policy. So it's a popularity contest, and they lost it. But yeah, like all this, you gonna be a slave. I'm sorry, chick crying. You probably already a slave in a way. A lot of niggas already slaves. So like, wake up. You've been a slave. You a slave to believe in this system is gonna do something for you. Like people every 4 years.
So let me ask you, so is this going to be the last vote or die election?
Man, as long as it's gonna be sheep, it's gonna be repeated. And sadly, in 4 years, it's gonna be on the same shit. The same, this is the election of your lifetime. This gonna change everything. This is for your kids. You don't care about your daughters. Blah blah blah. Like, man, y'all got the same rhetoric. That's why Democrats lost, because they got the same marketing for it. And it was worse. It was worse. It's an insult to talking about women's rights and then parade whores. I say whores because that's what they all call themselves, except for Beyonce. I won't call her that. But you got Megan Thee Stallion twerking. You got Cardi B up there. Like, these are low character people, and then you want them to represent good qualities and shit. And people see through that. Like, that's not the best of us. Those are entertainers. They cool to turn up to. But you want to inspire and galvanize, put the best of us in front of us. This becomes an insult. Because why the fuck are we listening to Glorilla when it's fucking kids dying in Gaza and our money going to Ukraine and it's real shit? Like, so people are looking at this and it's like, all right, what are we celebrating? We ain't won an election. Bring Glorilla at inauguration when you win. Like, and then you vice president now, do some shit now and take this shit. Like, I'm vice president now. This is what I'm about to do now. I raised $80 million. This is what I took this money and I do women today. Like, she has so much opportunity now as vice president to show you this is what I can do. And then she 2 weeks ago, Black men, that's what I'm gonna do for y'all. $25,000. And then you realize it was for everybody. Every man could benefit from this shit. They just put Black men in it for marketing. It's like, bro, who's running her account?
Hey, but listen, so now I know. Hey, Black, every time you going, it's machine gun fire for sure. Let me give G a little breath in here real quick.
Man, I'm gonna be short and sweet so we can keep it moving, because I mean, look, I think we all on the same page in terms of the fear mongering, like them making this like, oh, if Trump wins, it's going to be the worst thing for the history of the country, et cetera, et cetera. Look, man, I'm just not fearful in that same way. I do believe in checks and balances that we have. I also believe that, Trump said he was going to build a wall. Now he's saying he's going to deport all these immigrants. I don't think it's going to happen. So it's like, I think he's just saying things similar to what he did on the first go around that sound good. And the Democrats, man, this is part of their issue, is that they made this so much about like how bad he was again versus trying to put forth something that was actually for the people. They just wanted us to vote against Trump versus vote for what they were offering. And that fear game made, I think, too many people, they bought into that narrative, and that's why they're feeling how they're feeling today, when in reality, you know, as North Carolinians, like we all went to vote, but the more important vote was probably for governor to our day-to-day livelihood than it was for President Trump. You feel what I'm saying? So
right.
So
especially if you're a woman worrying about abortion rights and things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess as we kind of segue, I would also say yes, I think that it has become way too hyperbolic. I hope that this is the last vote or die type of thing. But I also think that it is cause for critique of how we respond even on social media. And like everybody probably has seen the whole, if you voted for Trump, I'm blocking you out and just unfriended XYZ amount of people. And I think what ends up happening is that we miss out on actually hearing about what people's grievances and issues are because of we just play the witch hunt and demonizing game. But I guess before we get off of Trump in general, I got two more questions. I guess we'll first start off with this one. Hypothetically, or what your real belief is, what's the most dangerous thing about a Trump presidency to you?
I'll start.
You can go.
I would say the most dangerous thing is the fact we already had January 6th. He has a very clear fan base that has only grown since then, and they've already demonstrated the lengths that they're willing to go to. And Trump is definitely like he'll blow the dog whistle, if you will, to activate his people. And I would say the most kind of telling thing about him as a professional politician is that, like, if you look at his 4 years, all of his executives, the cabinet, like over half of them niggas do not fuck with him and would not endorse him the second time around. That's not normal in the world of politics. That is a glaring sort of like, why don't this nigga's own people back him the second time around? And it's not like one or two. It's arguably half, if not the majority. So yeah, I think Trump is definitely doing this for very selfish reasons, and I do think he is like after a sort of absolute power. But do I think he'll achieve that? No, I don't. I'm not fearful that is actually going to happen, but I'm curious as to what his supporters will do in the name of who he is and what he claims to be.
Johnny,
that's exactly where I was going. I just sent a meme into the chat, but it was Trump as a match, and it was a bunch of bombs watching him give a speech, and I believe that's the most to me that would be the most dangerous thing. Was what people who aren't support him would do. To me, that's the scariest thing. I'm not necessarily scared of him, but I think he does have crazy supporters because he himself is a little bit crazy. So that's what scares me the most.
Gotcha. Hey, Black.
During this process, man, I feel like both sides are just as crazy. Like the way Democrats have been attacking, the vitriol, their character, like it's no different. All they've shown is like, how are y'all different from MAGA people? Like I've seen more hate from the blue side this election. And I wanted to comment on one of the comments in the chat from my last thing about Kamala being vice president and doing something now. And then they always respond like, oh, vice president can't do this and they can't do that. Or the Democrats can't do this because it's like always they're powerless. Why are we so hyped she vice president if she vice president and she can't do nothing as vice president? Like, or why are we voting Democrats in if when they get in, their only excuse is, oh, Republicans blocked it. Then y'all are fucking powerless. We just don't even need to vote for y'all at all because when they get in, they get shit done. Maybe the Democrats are secret Republicans or something. But I wanted to comment on that because it's always excuses for Democrat political people when they can't get something done. But when it's a Republican, they put all the blame on them. When they do shit right or wrong, it's all on them. But Kamala can't do nothing as VP because oh, she over the Senate, or she don't really have power, blah blah blah. And what do we hype about? What is she just a symbolic position? Are you gonna really tell me the vice president can't do shit?
Got it. Trey, landed.
Well, I'll just to respond to, I guess, John, I think the establishment doesn't like Trump because he's non-establishment more so than like their character is better than his. Like, I think Trump is probably more patriotic than like a Mitch McConnell, who's definitely just there to line his pockets. Because even Trump's rhetoric is consistently like pro-America. So like my biggest fear is what potential fear of what could happen with Trump is, one, he has a lot of overly zealous his base, and a lot of them are suspected white supremacist type, to where they could, but at the same time that he's been in office before, so that it's just hard for me to really take that seriously because of there's nothing like experience to make you to give you like reassurance. And I think both sides have crazy supporters, like A Black was saying, but I would say the left is even crazier and more authoritarian because it's the left that's talking about shutting down podcasts like this that they deem as misinformation and making forced vaccines and stuff like that.
And I'm not cutting you off. I guess I did want to redirect, and I might be redirecting back to A Black as well, because I can't remember if you answered it. I know right now you're airing grievances off on the left. To you, or is this like a notation that you don't really see anything dangerous about, or possibly dangerous about, an upcoming Trump presidency? I'll start back with you, Trey, and then go to A Black. Is there a thing, or is it kind of politics as usual?
I think we've avoided danger because there were no new wars under Trump. Trump, again, he wasn't forcing vaccines. He wasn't trying to have a ministry of misinformation. The authoritarian things that they try to put on Trump.
But can you not answer the question like Kamala? Like, can you answer the question, then give the explanation?
The question was, is there anything to fear?
What's the most dangerous thing about a Trump presidency? That's the question.
Well, anything I can think of the most dangerous is less dangerous than Kamala. But if I had to say the most dangerous thing, I would say his base. But I'm not really concerned about them. Or if they try to, like, they've been trying to assassinate him so many times. If they're successful with that, then that could be that could lead to some like domestic turmoil and things like that. But I'm not really, Trump doesn't like scare me at all.
A Black.
Yeah, same. I'm not personally really scared. Like maybe his views on Muslims, Islam, any bans that come along with that. But America been anti-Muslim, anti-Islamic for the most part anyway. So I don't know. Like I'm not in fear, so it's hard for me to even like really answer like what's dangerous because I can't see. Like we go see, but I mean, as a black man, I go do what I've been doing and decide my own destiny. But I don't really know. I can't see nothing real dangerous. Like I know he talked a lot of shit. Like both candidates do to rile up their base, but most candidates can't get shit passed for real when they get in there. They just do shit to rile their base up to get elected, and then they get back to the money.
Gotcha. I guess if I was to attempt to answer it, it'll probably be maybe one or two things. I think that there is an interesting, like the relationship of Elon and Trump is really interesting to me, especially with like over the next 4 years, the innovation in automation and AI. And what that could mean for the job market and how Elon could be making sure that he places himself in a spot where regulation is not that important. And as we know, with him going over to Twitter, then renaming it X, he has no problem with laying off people. And I think that like that relationship and how he tried to make sure that he kind of got really chummy with him, I think that could be like just something to pay attention to. yeah, no, I guess for me that'd probably be like the main thing. Where that's one of those things that, and being inside the software field or like just web design field in general, it's just something that I pay attention to. But I will go to the next question. What do you see changing over the next 4 years? Net negative, net positive. These next 4 years over Trump. Do you see it as a net negative, net positive, and what do you see changing?
Wait, is Trump in that positive? You say?
No, I'm asking y'all. Do you think that he like what do you see changing over the next 4 years, and do you see it as a net negative or a net positive?
I'm gonna be honest. Like the state of where we are today is in such a unique valley that everything's cyclical. It goes up and it goes down. Where we are right now, they've been talking about a recession for like 2 years now, but yet we never hit one, right? So it's like we've been flirting with these recessions, depressions. Economists will argue we never hit one. There are economists that will argue that. So it's not like a clear-cut thing.
Oh no,
right?
I get it. I guess I'm saying I only do that only because there's economists that also argue that we did, but that like the government kind of did. But nonetheless, it's not a consensus. Yes,
it's not a consensus. But the consensus is we did hit all-time high inflation rates at one point recently. The current market rates are as high as they've been in our recent, especially our time as adults. Like we graduated around the 2009 crisis when rates hit zero for the first time. So it's like what we know as normal interest rates from the Federal Reserve is like a unicorn time period in retrospect. Like we're not going to see most likely those low interest rates anytime soon again. I don't think we're going to go back to the 80s where you have like close to double digit interest rates in the Federal Reserve, but it's going to go back down moving forward. So I think just given where we are as it relates to the perception of the border, as it relates to the perception of our economy, these things will only improve over the next 4 years due to the cyclical nature of how things work. And that's why I'm not as concerned.
Got you. Who else? Johnny?
Yeah, I think like G was saying, I think like the economy and thing, it's a almost a self-correcting thing.
So do you see? And I guess you didn't answer it either. Net negative, net positive, but it sounds you kind of answered it in that. But I'll restate it just to make sure that the questions refresh in your mind. What do you see changing over the next 4 years, and do you see it as a net negative or net positive?
I definitely like 4 years. I think the economy is going to be back to pre-COVID, levels. I think, at least I'm hoping. I think Black people under Trump, I think a challenge always brings Black people closer together. So I think us having like a common, a perceived common enemy, I think that'd definitely be a welcome for Black people. I think we would get, come together with more unity. I think it'll only force us to rely on each other and kind of fix the union in our community.
Gotcha. So net negative, net positive. What do you land at?
Positive.
Okay.
It'll be a good thing.
Okay. Trey, I'll re-ask the question. What do you see changing over the next 4 years? And do you see it as a net negative or a net positive?
Thanks for all over you re-ask the question. So I think it would be definitely be a net positive, especially when we weigh in like the direction we were going, because we have to, we're gonna improve, and then comparing to where like the decline that we were on, like man, we seriously dodged a bullet here, because like the Democrats are really trying to convince American people like to turn a blind eye to this migrant crisis, which Trump has whether we believe he will or will not do what he says he's going to do, at least he says he will, and he's very vocal about making that happen. He's even said some specific strategies he would go about accomplishing that. So I think that alone will be very good for our nation. And also how I think he's a much better negotiator. He always brings up how Kamala, when she went to Ukraine to negotiate, they immediately started fighting as soon as she left. Versus when Trump was in office, he was dragging out with Zelensky, trying to get them to investigate Hunter Biden. And then we later found out that the Hunter laptop was real, even though during the last election they said it was fake. So that's another example of the media lying. So I think Trump, he's also trying to pull out of NATO, and a lot of this thing that's happening in Ukraine is because of NATO's aggression by pushing up to Russia. So I think Trump is more likely to bring about like peace as far as our involvement, like globally. Like, look at everything. As soon as the Democrats got in office, it's wars everywhere. So between the economy and between global conflicts, just that alone, I think Trump will be a net positive by far.
Okay, gotcha. Hey, Black, what do you see changing over the next 4 years? And will it be a net negative or net positive?
Similar responses. I feel like it'll be more of a net positive on the international side. I don't think we're going to be giving much more money out to Ukraine, to maybe Israel, but I don't think they'll get as much as they've been getting, like large lump sum. So I don't know how that's going to affect things in Russia when they're not arming Ukraine no more. I think economy-wise, it will be a net positive. I don't really know how the elections and this correlates with the stock market, but all our reports I've been seeing is things have been up. Like, people in that sector are celebrating. Apparently, Trump is good for the stock market. So, things have been up on that end. So I think eventually that will trickle down to our economy. And I feel like he'll start putting the money back into us versus like kind of sending it out foreign wise. But I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Too soon to tell. But I can't really say positive or negative, but I guess positive. I'm a more positive person, so I'm gonna be good. We gonna be good.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I know that the other thing that I would have said that could be dangerous about like the Trump economy would be the 20% plus on tariffs and how that actually can impact inflation in our economy in general. In which, just the way tariffs work, and then bringing back American jobs of like basic manufacturing back to America, and what that also could mean to the economy. I don't know, like, as I see his plan right now, it's hard to see where it specifically will be like a really positive. I'm not necessarily going to go on the ledge and say that it'll be negative right now. I'm probably going. If I had to, if I didn't take the fence sitting approach, I'd probably say net negative, but not inside like the biggest margin. Just because I think that the tariffs is going to be such an interesting, tricky thing, and depending on how he wants to levy his power, it could kind of get out of hand. But we have a decent amount into the chat. I'd like to say first, we are streaming on 2 different platforms, the G-ish podcast and the To Be Fair show. Super chat, super thanks are available. Again, as y'all see, more times than not, I think our panelists have it. They have their cash apps inside their profiles. If you agree with a panelist, show them some love. Hit a cash app. And I guess now is probably a good time to segue. We've talked a little bit about kind of Trump winning, the fear-mongering. Should we be scared? Are we overreacting in general? I guess I would like to start segueing our conversation over to a little bit of the Kamala side of the conversation.
A lot of people are asking, like, how did Trump get more votes than he got last time? Well, here's the answer. because people like myself, independents or moderates, the Democrats gave us no choice. The Democrats gave us no choice. That was the worst campaign, and their pure arrogance and their moral superiority have driven people away. If you say you're voting for Trump, suddenly you're a Nazi, you're Hitler, you're garbage. Enough. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's racists in the party, just like there's crazy people and assholes and racists in the Democratic Party, all right?
All right, so I'll lead that to our segue question. Did Trump win it or did she lose it?
Man, she definitely lost that. Man, if you can't be the man that has all these felonies running in and out of court, he did. They try to put a coup on all that other type of stuff. If you can't be this man with all this rhetoric, then that's a indictment on you as a candidate and on the party you represent, because this should have been a layup. And then again, also, if Trump can't beat Kamala, who didn't put hardly any policies on her website, she can barely make it through an interview. And she has a crazy track record in California with like prosecutions, and not to mention the whole Willie Brown, when we bring the morality into the question, anything like that. If Trump can't beat her, that's an indictment on him as well. This was, yeah, Trump won, but I think America kind of lost, but we didn't lose as bad as we would have lost if Kamala would have won.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Go ahead, A-Black. Listen.
I'm saying, yeah, I think Trump won it only because I don't think she had enough time to really build a strong thing. Like, I can't really remember no time in history where nobody's had like that short amount of time to get a campaign going. So I feel like it was rushed, it was frantic, and because of that, it introduced a lot of elements to turn people off. It created the energy, like the dudes just said in the clip, the moral superiority thing. Like, people are literally bullying people just for having alternative thought. You might not even said your choice yet, but if you're just having a different thought, like you're a Trump supporter, you're this and that, and you, after a while, that people grow resentment. I'm just not voting this because I don't like how y'all are doing my thought right now. You're bullying me, you chastising, and it was just like meanness for real. Like, why are you not educating people? Why are you not showing them these facts that you claim to have, but you don't never show? It's just like they turn a lot of people off because it's like, y'all can't be talking about morality and then the people that y'all put in front of us are immoral people. It was just like a lot of hypocrisy in their campaign. And but yeah, I think he won it just because she didn't really have time to have a fair fight really against him in time wise. Like, it was Joe Biden, oh shit, Kamala, we're scrambling, and now we're here. You know, she got beat bad because we didn't give people the chance to choose. So that's where they fucked up.
You think she would have done better with more time? I think she would have lost worse because the more she talked, it seemed like.
I think she could have done better more time, but I think it was already over when they didn't allow people to choose. Because when you remember the primaries, the first time, I don't think she came in top 3. You know, like, so there hasn't been a lot of love for her. So you kind of like you do that. They pick her as vice president for optics because of Joe Biden. Oh, white man, we need this black fresh HBCU grad optics because she was against Joe Biden. She was believing his accusers and all of this stuff. And then fast forward, you know, they got scrambled and put her in office, but people never voted for her. So she already was kind of losing from the jump because it's like nobody chooses you. We kind of having to force. We voted against Trump. We're not voting for Kamala, and I think that's really a lot of her supporters was like just anti-Trump, not really pro-Kamala. We would have voted for anybody that's Democrat, and we just got her, so whatever. But a lot of people was like, nah, we not voting for her because we ain't choose her. We don't fuck with him, but we ain't choose her. That's all it came down to.
Nah, so basically, if she had more time, she wouldn't have even been a candidate at all. My bad.
More than likely. I think if they would have had primaries and put new people in there, I don't think she would have won the primary. I don't think she would be a strong enough candidate yet.
G, let me ask you. So did Trump win it or did Kamala lose it? What is your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I think I agree more with A Black was saying here. I don't think Kamala lost it. The Democrats lost it with just the whole Or really, honestly, like Biden, like is just Biden and Trump are on the same scale. One is just a different temperature than the other. They're the same thing. Biden's ego and need for being president and power is what ruined the Democrats' chances of winning this election. If I agree, had they opened it up, they would have had a better chance, because the reality is that Kamala Harris as an individual has no fan base before she got announced to replace Joe Biden. No fan base. She was widely regarded as one of the worst vice presidents from a rating perspective that we've had. Prior to her being selected as vice president, when they chose her on the Biden ticket, that was a big eyebrow raiser from the start. Like, they're pandering to black people, choosing this black woman on the ticket with Biden. And then before she got selected as vice president, like A Black said, she didn't even make it out of like the top whatever for the Democratic primary. She didn't even make it to like the final vote. She has no real fan base. And so the Democrats being cornered, raising all this money for Biden, and then the money starts to dry up, and they're like, nah, you guys got to do something different. They effectively staged like a coup to get them out. And because legally they had raised all that money and they couldn't do anything else with it, they had to have Kamala fill that seat so that they didn't just waste all that money that they raised. So just a terrible situation for, say, Kamala to be put in, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't even think she asked for that. It was more like, hey, you up next, you got to do this. But I would say it's not really on her more so than it is on how the party went about this from the start. But even more specifically, Joe Biden is no different than Donald Trump in terms of their ego and their need for power, and their the fact that they don't want to relinquish that power, that
unwillingness to concede.
Correct. Biden
right,
didn't even speak in Pennsylvania for Kamala. Think about that. That's that nigga's home state. He didn't even speak in Pennsylvania, and that was like the key to the whole thing was Pennsylvania. Who's gonna win Pennsylvania? This nigga did not even speak.
And which, if she also was just smart, she'd have got the Shapiro cat that was the governor.
Another misstep. She should have got the governor of Pennsylvania.
But we'll have a full conversation about what we believe perceived she did wrong.
Yeah, bring that back
but
up,
do want to answer to or read out the super chat really quickly. $5 shout out to Alex Orange. Says, let me guess, getting reparations no longer a priority, right? Now that Trump is in, getting rid of immigrants is more important than a check now. Trey, I'll direct that to you. I'll give you a quick, give you a minute, then I'm gonna throw it to Johnny for him to answer the question.
Man, the Democrats love to do that, bro. Like, they want to tell us that Trump's not going to give us reparations. Meanwhile, they're not planning on giving us reparations either. They'll work with Gavin Newsom to kill a Democratic bill, even though the Democrats have the House, have the Senate, and they also have the governor, and they'll kill a reparations bill and tell us not to vote for Trump because Trump's not going to do reparations. So, like, we're not falling for that anymore, bro. So the second priority, if immigration isn't an option this election, is either one, not get involved with the system, like delegitimize it. You know, if they're not going to give us anything, then why would we bother? The second option is, I think immigration is the second highest priority for Black people, because immigration typically, if we're forced to the bottom economically, we're going to be the most impacted by immigration. So that is as close to a tangible as we'll get, especially if the immigrants and migrants and everything, they don't have any, like, we aren't looking out for us. So why does it bother us, or why do we? I don't like if it benefits us to deport them, then, like, you can't shame us for not looking out for our own best interest. That's a slave mentality, when you're expected to do things that benefit other people and it don't benefit you, and you get shamed for not following along. So no, man, nobody's giving us reparations. So yes, deport them.
Gotcha. Johnny, did Trump win it or did she lose it?
I think she definitely lost it. But like the panelists said, I think she didn't have a fair fight. I think the Democratic Party more so lost the election than it all being solely Kamala's fault. I think she gave it an effort. I think there's things she could have did better. She could have had better policies. She could have, did stuff earlier. But I think the Democratic Party fumbled the transition from Joe Biden to Kamala. I think or Joe Biden to whoever, possibly a better candidate that would have pushed Trump a little harder. So, not Kamala, but I think the whole Democratic Party dropped the ball on this.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess now as we start segueing, I'm gonna play a couple memes that the panel sent in, and then we'll kind of build our conversation around what did she do wrong. Let me rephrase.
Do y'all remember when y'all was kids and you did something wrong and your parents said, we're going to talk about this tomorrow? White women, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. These are numbers from Pennsylvania, and all the votes, of course, are not in, but I don't see these demographic numbers changing that drastically. For white women, what's going on? What is going on? This is 3 elections in a row where I'm seeing white women teeter the line in Donald Trump's favor. 3 elections in a row. This is Georgia. White women, what's going on? What's going on? 3 elections in a row. This Pennsylvania and Georgia. Battleground states.
Would actually like to put this narrative to bed, maybe a realignment thing. One place, and I would actually like to put this narrative to bed, maybe forever. One place there's not going to be realignment, Black men. Every 4 years, I go through the ritual of having to talk down, this the sort of world that wants to say that Black men are just realigning and they're all going to run to Donald Trump. There is literally no difference in the exit polls. A 1 point difference is not a difference at all between where Black men were in 2020 and where they are in 2024. It's not Black men. They are not the ones shifting. What you're seeing are shifts among Latino voters, for sure. But you are not seeing shifts among Black men. Please stop saying Black men. The only area.
So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one county?
By 3% or more. At least in the county right now. And so you come in full county there. So there you see, but that's states. Yeah. So in counties, in 58 counties.
The one there are so many questions for the Democrats to answer, but one of them, the one that I just saw that's going to be staring them in the face for some time if they don't do something about it, is that 45% of Hispanics voted for Donald Trump.
45.
We've all been talking about a new Republican Party. There needs to be a new Republican Party. This morning, this is about as bleak as any time for Democrats since the so-called 1984 San Francisco Democrats. It's time for the Democrats to take a good, long, hard look at how this happened. And if they just say Trump bad, Democrats virtuous, they're going to keep losing because this, again, is so widespread. This is not about just Donald Trump. This is about the Democratic Party and being radically disconnected from the rest of the country. Look at the map.
All right, and I got one last one.
One of them is the youth vote traditionally goes to the Democrats, not so much in this one.
Yeah, big movement here. Let's call up the exit polls from last night. Take a look. Okay. Voters under 30. And we got here a comparison to what happened last night and what happened 4 years ago. So last night, now, Democrats still won. We say Democratic candidate because it was Harris last night, Biden in 2020. So Harris wins the youth vote by 13 points. But 4 years ago, Joe Biden won it by 24 points. So basically got cut in half. And the other interesting part about this is overall, we had a gender gap last night, but it wasn't as big as people were expecting it to be. But it was massive among the youngest voters. Among men under 30, Harris won by 2 points. Wow. Among women under 30, Harris won by 36 points. So the gender gap is growing among the youngest group of voters. Overall, less Democratic, but look at that gap.
Thought it was also interesting that in the last election, Biden won women by a larger margin than Harris won women in this election.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. So I guess I'll toss with the first one. There was a lot of memes, so it was a lot to unpack, but that kind of sits as the bed for a bit of this conversation. Starting it off, who's to blame? We did hear rolling into the election, there was a lot of criticism levied at black men and black men's willingness to vote for a woman, a black woman. And if the election was lost, it would be at the hands of black men. I'll ask y'all, in your opinion, who's to blame for this loss? Is there a demographic to blame? I think that some people have said that white women were the largest minority and slash the largest voter base in general. There has been a swing when it comes down to the Latino vote, especially Latino men, but generally speaking, Latinos. There hadn't been too much of a change within the black vote, but they like black people did vote at a lower rate than say during the Obama years and maybe it was the Hillary year. Who's to blame? Are black men at fault?
Of course not.
No, absolutely not. I think the shift in the Latino vote was definitely a big one. And then Kamala not connecting with white women. I think that was the big layup as a woman, possibly the first woman president. I think that's a big layup that you missed. I don't know how she could have, connected with women better. I'm not a woman. That's, something she'll have to, in the Democratic Party would have to reflect on. But I think there was a big, missed opportunity given, some of the history that Kamala could have made.
Yeah, man. It's Democrats, man. They lost it. Bad marketing, weaponizing the gender war, weaponizing identity politics, and not really putting out no real issues. Like one of the clips said, it was just like everything Trump bad, Trump bad. Well, you a Trump, you a Trump. So, like I said, that turns people off. Because what are you offering other than saying that me quickly thinking makes me a Trump supporter, or me having a question, makes me wrong. So you got people taking their vote and then going in silent because everybody's like living in the bubble of their thought, and they bleeding and blocking people that don't think like them. So they live in this bubble of like mind. Now they think that, oh, we got this because everybody think like me. But no, you block everybody that would have kind of give you opposition. So you don't really.
That's such a great point. We almost live inside our own, or the people that exercise those things, and you was able to see it highlighted today.
And the algorithm does that to us too.
But it's an even more curated algorithm that's specifically your thoughts, and you've already eliminated anything that could be counter of that. My bad, A Black. Great point.
Yeah. Nah, and so yeah, like I said, just weaponizing identity politics, making this thing kind of devolve into its right issues, which our women are facing issues, but our women are also the freest women in the world. Like, no government official is coming in your bed and ripping the baby out your womb. Like, you have control to make your own decisions. You have freedom and stuff. So, but they just weaponize that, and the white women, a lot of them are against abortion. A lot of them don't feel like their rights are at stake. They are more, I feel, threatened and insecure by the alternative. Like I say, what was kind of Kamala's campaign, black women, and all of these things, that is an attack on white women. That's an attack on white men too. I mean, you know what white men gonna go for anyway, and it's like no smoke for them at all. Like, they got a number like 74% and all of this, huge numbers, and it ain't no smoke for them because it's just like that's become the norm. We expect white men to do that. But why? Like, hold them accountable too. Challenge them and their thoughts. But they's like, all right, we can't say shit to white men, so let's attack our own. Even though they all voted overwhelmingly for her, we just gonna attack niggas anyway. And it's like, yo, this shit's getting old.
Got you. So I guess really quickly, let me read. Well, I guess one quick room set. we will be having call-in soon. Just be prepared. That might be within the next 20, 30, at the latest, 40 minutes. But I know that we got a decent amount inside the chat, decent amount just engaging in the conversation and kind of want to have their piece heard, especially if you feel like we might not be being the fairest. So we will be dropping the link soon. So make sure that you pay attention to that. I do have Brother Marcus. He has sent the super chat. Again, we're streaming on 2 channels. And let me put this down. All the cash apps are right there. If you want to support one of our brothers on the panel, make sure that you hit the cash app. To Be Fair Show is streaming. Super chat XYZ. G-ish Pod is streaming. Super chat XYZ. With that said, Brother Marcus asks, who y'all vote for? Making excuses for that Greek. I don't know. Does anybody want to speak to who they voted for? If not, it's cool if you don't want to.
Election is
It's
over.
quiet on the panel.
Election
What'd
is
you
over.
say?
Cornell West.
You said Cornell West.
Dr. Cornell West, yeah.
All right. It sounds like the rest of the panel is going to.
I didn't vote for Trump. I'll say that much.
Got you.
You didn't vote for Kamala, did you?
Nah.
I mean, you want to say that? Okay, word. I mean,
yeah, I didn't vote for either one of those two, so I'll say that.
And that's big, bro, because like in the Obama election, when we voted, everyone on this panel probably voted for Obama, right? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's a step in the right direction because now nobody on this panel voted for Democrats. So if we're any reflection of, our demographic, then
I'm also not a registered Democrat either. I'm unaffiliated, so I'm not affiliated with any party.
Yeah, that's why I'm so proud of this generation, man. Because like our parents' generation, they were religiously Democrats. Like they didn't. That's why we're having to work so hard now to train them that they can't take us for granted. Is because our parents' generation taught them that they can just depend on our vote. So it really made no sense for them to do anything for us because, like, why bother?
Got you.
Are you gonna can I answer your last question, or are you about to move on?
Oh no, I was about to redirect back to that.
Okay.
Who's to blame? Is it black men's fault? Trey, talk to us.
Man, in those clips, it was crazy because the black people in the clip is like they cannot fathom women of other races following male leadership. It's like a whole different language to them. So I think we're at least partly to blame because the black turnout was down, and the black people who did vote were less inclined to vote for Democrats than they have been in a long time. So that just the volume, because last election, I think it was like it was so close that like a stadium full of people would have been enough to like swing the election because of just how the electoral college works and if you place those people in the right spot. So I think the little bit of us that did make a difference, those were votes that, if properly placed, because we do make a higher population in the inner cities of a lot of these swing states, I think it could have been more impactful than the stats may make it seem. And also, if we aren't to blame, then why did they go out of their way pandering to us and shaming us? Like,
so you believe that we are to blame?
We're at least partly to blame. We're definitely, yeah. I think.
But for you, that's like a sense of pride to be to blame.
I mean, it is part. I do take pride in being the blame, but it's not just like a delusional pride. I can justify the pride in us being the blame because, again, if we believe in Kamala, like the way we believe in Obama, we could have swung this election, but a lot of us decided to sit this one out, or either go third party, or either vote Trump. And they say we're only 13%, but that's a little hard to believe the way they like kind of pander to us, and they always talk about our vote. Like, why would they really talk about the black male vote if it's only like 6% of the population?
Because it's a significantly more percentage of Democratic votes. That's the reason why.
Because we vote in the block.
We like, you got to win the black vote significantly to be successful as a Democrat. Really, I don't want to cut you off, so you could go ahead.
I mean, no, I'm okay with the back and forth because that's kind of what I was saying, or maybe I can say it a little better. Like if we're a block vote and then we become unreliable as a block, then that is impactful and partly to blame because she really failed to connect with the black masses. The only people, like the black elites, were on her. Like all the Diddy lists were with her, or maybe coerced. I don't know, but and then a lot of like the intersectional community, she got them. But with Obama, she got all. I mean, he got all of us, and that didn't happen this time around. I think that could have been very helpful. At least made it a much closer election. But this time, like she was so like wildly unpopular that it's difficult to. It was kind of a joint effort. Like she's not a likable person. Like her voice is annoying. She never answers the question. She can't make it through an interview without somebody holding her hand. She never won an election. She depended on the California machine to get her in power over there more so than like her popularity or anything like that. And she also kind of, I mean, it's evident she messed with some dudes who got her some of her positions too. So she never really got anything on her own merit. So she was so it's difficult to take full credit, but I wouldn't just say that we don't deserve any of this blame. And I also don't like how social media seemed like a lot of black men, they were trying to like kind of cop and please, like, oh, it's not our fault, don't blame us. Like, nah, we don't owe nobody. Like, we can vote for how we feel like voting. So if they want to blame us, blame us. Like, we don't. You know what I mean?
Like, I mean, numbers wise, it wasn't our fault. Like,
fuck it, take the blame.
Like, I mean, like most of us still voted for Kamala. Still,
I know, but the volume was down though, wasn't not? I think there was like more voter apathy this time around, especially compared to Obama.
A little bit, but I think you saw the swing in like the Latino vote and like the women.
I think it. I haven't seen official numbers, but I think that like if we just look at North Carolina, 20% of North Carolina is black. I think 10% of black people in general voted. I think it was like 4% men, 6% women. So even within that, that's around like the average of what nationally people vote. Like we don't have like a heavy voting United States in general. Like that's one of the bad things about just the United States in general is that people don't vote as much as they should. To where it wasn't like crazy off. It wasn't like a drastic drop in it.
So I thought the Latinos, I thought they typically have a split vote. So this election, it wasn't anything new. But we voted Democrat upwards of 90% before, haven't we not?
Yeah, we
but I think their swing was fairly big. I think it was like 15% or something like that.
Yeah, 12, 15. They had a big swing.
So last time they voted 15 for the ones that voted for Biden, 15% less of them voted for Kamala.
Yeah. Or voted for Trump.
Oh, voted for Trump. Oh, okay. That's the other thing too, because I don't think Trump's votes for us necessarily went high as much too. I mean, high as much either. We just didn't. A lot of us just didn't vote for Kamala, like on this panel. Like nobody even like fessing up to voting for Trump, but nobody said they voted for Kamala.
I was surprised by the one meme and the guy, and he mentioned the youth vote that she lost that significantly with him. Like, and that was kind of like alarming to me because I thought she was going to clean up with that.
So this is where it's like for me with the original question, it's like one, blaming, like who is it to blame? That is a very democratic way of looking at the results, and that's why they in this position in the first place. They're always trying to blame people for their lack of results. It's like you don't own these votes, you have to earn these votes, and you didn't earn them. So it's not anybody's fault. Like you didn't do good enough. Like, when you're at your job and you don't get the results, good luck telling your boss it's somebody else's fault. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, you were a politician, you running to win an election, you didn't win. It's your fault. You got to take accountability for what you didn't do correct. And I think looking at white people, like white people are going to be white. So I'm not expecting them to like vote majority out of their best interests. And honestly, if I'm a white person in America, why wouldn't I vote for Trump? If I'm being honest, like he represents more of what I would feel white people would want to, have at the head of the table, in my opinion.
Unless you're gay,
Unless you're
But
gay,
I'm just saying, generally speaking, because I don't think there's still a lot of that community that did vote for him in certain states too. So I the Caitlyn Jenners of the world, but I don't want to go down a wormhole. But so I think if we're going to look at it through that democratic lens of who to blame, Latin men, and young people, like A Black just said, and low key first time voters. There were less first time voters this time around compared to the first election, or not the first, but the last election. But the majority of first time voters this time around were voting for Donald Trump, which I think is an interesting fact. Like, that's just the reality. The majority of first time voters in America did not, or they did vote for Trump. When you look at that swing of Latino men, like, that is a huge swing compared to the prior. It's like double-digit points. That is remarkable from a political feat. That is crazy. And when you look at young people, like A Black said, this is where podcasts come in handy, because Trump went Aiden Ross. Donald Trump Jr. was on Academics early. Trump went and sat down with Flagrant. Trump went and sat down with Joe Biden. Trump went and sat not Joe Biden, Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Trump went and sat down with a hell of a lot of podcasts that are tailored towards younger audiences, and what's also a part of younger audiences, first time voters. So strategically speaking, that is Trump's strong suit. His marketing, his ability to connect message with like, that's just something I don't understand, but it's undeniably masterful at it, and he's done well. So I think if we're going to blame anybody, you got to blame, say, Latin men at the head of the line. Second would be young voters. And then third would be new voters. That's how I would look at it if there's a blame. But ultimately, the blame is on the Democratic Party, because it's on you to earn those votes.
Hey, Q, that's that victim mentality we were talking about in the chat, where you just want to blame somebody else. That's more evident of a victim mentality than acknowledging our history in America as a Black person.
And I also think the celebrity endorsements did them more harm than good this time. Like,
right?
I would blame that as well. Yeah, like some of the worst people endorsing them. I'm like, what? Everybody should represent you and your brand. It's like, you can support, but you ain't supposed to have everybody representing you. But that's why.
And on cue, we have this meme sent in.
Free Tory, man.
Right here when it's cooked. People in the background. That's
the meme says people are saying this is the reason Kamala lost the election.
Y'all want the whites to vote for that?
So I guess I'll throw this into the air. Even though I thought, G, you did make a great point, which we'll get to later, about why the right has been winning. But let's kind of finish this one off with asking, what did she do wrong? And again, we have an example of, again, Megan Thee Stallion. You had Cardi. She brought Cardi B up. She brought Beyonce. She brought Glorilla. There we go. She performed F&F. But as we've spoken about, there has been an issue with voter apathy. As we've spoken about, there has been an issue with identity politics. As G kind of hinted at, better campaigning, making sure that you reach maybe even across the aisle to platforms that reach different voter bases outside of a Club Shay Shay or All the Smoke or Breakfast Club. So I'll ask y'all, what do you think is the big issue? Or what did she do wrong, should I say?
Oh my gosh.
So what did she do wrong?
You just listed it, bro.
Yeah, I think it was kind of tough for her to, because a lot of people just wasn't rocking with the Democratic Party no matter what. So I mean, it's hard to say one specific thing. I would say the policies that she did have, she should have put them out there earlier. Talking to black men, she should have, been on that like first day. But outside of that, it was hard to see how she was gonna win either way. So I don't know what she did wrong, except just being a woman, a black woman. That kind of.
So you just thought that she was kind of being a black woman was what did it.
I think there's a lot of people on that side that we're gonna have trouble voting for a black woman.
Who you talking about, Kamala?
Yeah.
Nah, I kind of, man, I don't like that narrative, man. I feel like
I think we had this one sent into the chat. Said, black woman, you can be the most qualified in the room and still ...
Yeah, man, you can't.
She's an Indian.
You're not qualified. You didn't get voted in. Like you didn't go through the process. But like I hate they making this like this anti-woman thing. You got black women making history. People voting blue in areas.
Yeah, shout out to the Senate.
In House of Reps, you got North Carolina who voted red for Trump and blue for governor. We didn't vote for Mark Robinson. Like so people have sense and shit. They like who they like, but I hate making this. Oh, y'all just don't like women. Y'all not ready for a woman to lead. No, we're not ready for that woman to lead. Like you give Michelle Obama a fair fight with Donald Trump in the same amount of campaign time, she can beat him.
But there's still a lot of people that's not going to vote for Michelle Obama for the same reason.
There's a lot of people that's not going to vote for Hillary, but they not going to vote for Kamala.
Michelle Obama has a real base. She has a real fan base. She would have more people would have turned out to vote if Michelle Obama was in that race versus Kamala. Like we did talk about a drop off. Do you think more people would have came out to vote overall if it was Michelle versus Kamala?
I think Michelle would have been a better candidate for sure, but do you think she would have been able to draw enough white women or Latino voters to beat Trump? I think that would still been a tough ask for.
I would have Michelle Obama beating Trump, to be honest. But never mind. I would go a little bit to what G talked about earlier, where if I was to give my own personal version of where I think that she dropped the ball at, I think Trump is just a master marketer. And she didn't do the campaigning right, especially with having a shot clock. Where even if you came
out strong.
No, she came out strong, but then even when she came out strong, she went ghost for almost a month, and everybody was like, "When she gonna do her first interview?"
Yep.
And then her first interview was her sitting beside, her vice president running mate, and them kind of going over rehearsed questions where. Then it became this big thing about, damn, do she say anything that doesn't sound rehearsed? Can we have just a human interview where she's just not literally just saying rehearsed things and then redirecting everything back to Trump? But yeah, again, to me, when you look at what Trump did do in the last 60 days and what she did, he put on a marketing blitz, and whether good press, bad press, he was going to go to every single place that he could go to that was going to get his name out. He's going to go to McDonald's. She said, my vote is trash. I'm going to go be the trash man. He did everything. In comparison to her, where she wanted Joe Rogan to even though she asked him, she wanted him to capitulate to her schedule. She didn't do any really big podcasts or platforms that weren't black. Outside of maybe she did a little slut podcast. I can't remember the name of it.
The Freak Off podcast.
And so then it was damn, marketing wise, you didn't reach across the aisle and try and appeal to just your average white consumer. And then that's when you think of damn, you had Taylor Swift. That's white woman Jesus. And you didn't even use her the proper way. And I just think it was really, really bad marketing, in my opinion. I think that's if I was to push one of the buttons and be this will be a primary one, I think that she didn't do enough, and it was a bit of entitlement to think that people are just going to vote for you because of who you are and who people say that you are. And I got that from a lot of her supporters as well.
Yeah,
you make it sound like Trump was a mastermind. I agree
with Amanda Seals until she said, you know, she got invited to meet Kamala and told her to her face that she was disingenuous. And I think that is like the main thing with her campaign is like people over this whole political correctness, this whole thing that politicians do of like, you know, acting like they holier than thou, they never do no wrong. They're so good. They're so like, be real, be yourself. Like, who are you? And like, it just always feel like
she needed that Joe Rogan the podcast. She needed that 3-hour podcast.
You would ate her alive, bro.
But Joe Rogan wasn't looking to eat either one of them alive. But like you could tell that with like the Trump one.
She would have hung herself though.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah,
possibly.
That's why she avoided. Like that's why, and I think that's why her team avoided it for her. Like,
yeah, they wanted to make sure that they flew him out. They wanted to make it under an hour. I was like, God damn.
They were hand holding all of her public announcements. They were super like
that shit don't work.
Super what's the word? Curated. It was like so.
But it was overly curated to a fault. But my bad, A Black.
No, I was just saying, like, she just had to be more authentic. Like, America is way more transparent now because of the internet and social media and all the knowledge we have access to. So that whole way of politicking, it didn't work for her. Like, you got to be real and transparent and like show who you really are. Like Trump, whatever you don't like about him, you know who the fuck he is, and that's what resonates with a lot of people. They don't gotta wonder. Crap is always the switcheroo. They present one person and they get in office and they be another one. And people just like, yo, you got opportunity to kind of show who you are. Why are we questioning your identity? Why are we questioning your race and your family? Like, why is this stuff still a question? Because you haven't really been an authentic person. You know, you got tapes and videos of you South Asian and being Indian and being all of these things to win in those areas. And like now, it's like, all right, you're black. Technically, we know you black. We know the one drop rule in America and all of that stuff. But also, what are you culturally? Like, we know you went to HBCU, but we know a lot of others go to HBCUs too. So you are just missing opportunities to be authentic. You like got that gap of like no interviews, like to really touch people, and now you throw on celebrities in people's faces. The Democrats say we gonna make millionaires and millionaires pay their fair share of taxes. But here, let this multimillionaires talk to y'all. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, where's the working class people and shit? Like, you're not supposed to be bringing stars on. You're supposed to be creating stars. Like, who is this dude who spoke at this rally that nobody knows that everybody knows tomorrow? Beyonce don't never talk about no politics. What is she doing there? I'm here as a mother. There's a lot of fucking mothers. What is she doing here? Like, she never talk about nothing. So it's an insult because you make it feel like, all right, I got one of these popular people. Y'all gotta vote for me. I'm the cool
What
kid.
you mean, Hey Black? She got a song called Freedom. What you mean she don't talk about nothing?
She didn't even sing it though. We don't pay her to talk. We pay her to sing.
That was the Jon Stewart joke. But yeah, Alex Orange. I got a sneaky suspicion. Maybe this is Alex, but
they played that freedom. They played that freedom. They played that freedom at the end of her concession speech, which, by the way, as a side note, might have been her best speech in the whole damn campaign when the shit was over. I don't know if y'all heard her give her concession speech at Howard earlier today, but
I just heard it. She said her heart was full of. She said her heart was full a couple times, but I do want to speak to this really quickly, where I think that in these conversations often, to give a critique of one, we usually think that means an endorsement of the other, right? Where, to me, Trump was just better at marketing. So yes, Trump, he brought out Trick in Detroit. Like, he brought out Chef G inside New York. He brought out Hulk Hogan during the RNC. Like, he did the thing, but across the board, he just marketed himself better. Not even saying he didn't go down to the low hanging, like he was in McDonald's serving people bare hand fries. Like, like he was like Trump was wilding too, but his marketing worked.
And he fed them college players McDonald's too, so it all ties into the brand. Like, he was feeding the national champions McDonald's in the White House. Like, it's all on brand. Like, this nigga's a marketing genius. Like,
he is, but we can't act like he didn't have some blunders though. But it's just like Kamala was so.
Oh no, he did for sure. That's the point I'm saying. Like, he definitely had his blunders. I think that Kamala just didn't take advantage of opportunities that she should have. Like, to me, I don't see how you do not speak to Joe Rogan, in my opinion.
I
where,
agree.
like,
I agree.
In the first day of the interview, they did 30 million. That was more than all of her interviews in podcasts combined to that point.
The biggest
I think
name
at
in
that
media.
point, the biggest thing that she did was at like 1.5 or something like that million. So to me, even if it whether it works or it doesn't work, having access to 30 million outside of your base, like, is pivotal, is big, and especially if you're going on like the last week and your last push. To me, I don't see how you drop the ball and feel too entitled to do that, in my opinion.
McKee, you gotta understand, she might be the worst public speaking politicians we've seen, like, of all time.
I don't even think that she speaks worse than Trump, to be honest. I
She
think that they
speak
hold her
worse,
hand
like,
too much.
She can't. She remember when the teleprompter went off, and then she
I don't know if I seen
the
that.
same thing.
But I wouldn't say she speaks like better than Trump. Trump is just authentic and she's rehearsed. Like, that's just the difference. Yeah, Trump is witty, he's funny, he's like he has a personality. Kamala didn't show personality, she didn't show charisma, she didn't really show
I agree with all these things. Yeah.
any of those things. Whereas Trump,
She felt like a robot.
Yeah, exactly.
What politician does, like, there's no politician that you can say put those qualities on that they put in front of a microphone all the time. Like, she,
some, yeah.
Like,
even
give me
like
an example.
To me, what's the dude name? Pete Buttigieg or whatever.
Buttigieg.
When he is in front of a camera or in front of an audience, he knows how to sound like a regular person, like he's just speaking off the top of his mind, talking with you, not necessarily to you. Like, he doesn't sound rehearsed, but he's got his talking points down. Obviously, Obama's arguably the GOAT in terms of just like charisma and personality, like that, arguably the GOAT. But there are other politicians who do that way better than what Kamala did in the Democratic Party. Pete Buttigieg, I think, is one that just,
I think you're agreeing with Trey Point.
Okay.
He was saying, he was saying name someone that's successful that doesn't do that well.
Okay.
Like,
I thought he was saying that nobody does.
Who's less well spoken than Kamala Harris? I can't think of a soul.
But I don't think that it's a problem of being well
spoken.
spoken as much as, like, she just sounds overly rehearsed. Because to me, I understand what she's saying. It just sounds like she's reading off a teleprompter.
Correct.
Even when there's no teleprompter. And that they practiced the conversation like 15 times and how to pivot out of it. It's like when the NBA players in their second year, they got like 1 year of media training. So, like, they go to like their direct rehearsed responses every single time. And that's what she always sounds like to me.
She sounds drunk sometimes, to be like, keep it a buck. Because remember that was going along with the CBS interview when she was kind of there asking questions. She was kind of sweating, and they
like, there's more work to be done.
Like, and she's always talking about the promise of unburden of what has been undone or whatever, like saying dumb stuff like that. Like, she's the person, if you bring her with you somewhere and nobody likes her, she's that type of person. Like, she's not a likable person, man. And then,
all right, so
let me stop.
Hey, shout out Alex, man.
Hey, Alex,
we'll
man,
get you
stop
back.
by, nigga. Join this call in, nigga. Where you at, nigga?
But
join this show, nigga.
But I'm gonna drop the call in a second.
What up,
so
Alex?
as we start segueing, and I will drop the call in, I will say I like to direct this to both sides. I would like to ask what the Dems should do moving forward and why the right is winning. So we'll start off with what the Dems should do forward. Is it time to change from a losing strategy?
No, keep that up, bro. So they can just go into the dust and just be done with it. Be like the Whig Party. Like, because if they keep this lack of accountability and never change, then we don't ever have to worry about them again. We can start a new party. So I'm glad to see that they're not learning. Anyway, my fault.
They got to get out the fear business. You know, they got to get back to issues, educating the populace, showing what they doing, being accountable for what they ain't doing. But they get this whole game of like trying to create the boogeyman. That game is over. Like Americans are not scared. Like it's American. It's the American way. It's like we go see what happens. You're not gonna scare us to death. So they got to get back to just being honest, being for real. Too many Democrats are fake, disingenuous, still on the old political cliche way. But you got this. Trump kind of broke that mold where some say, "Oh, it's not a presidential office no more. It's not fake no more." You got to be your genuine, authentic to win these days, I believe, and that's what they're gonna have to do. But you know, they gotta get out of that insulting people's intelligence with the pandering shit and get back to the issues. But they pander too much. That's what they got to change. Get on the ground. You're out of touch with people. That's why I feel pandering, because it's like, who's working in y'all office that's making these ideas? Like, they not in the streets. Whoever it is, like Beyonce and bringing these type of people in should not be the priority. Like, y'all need to like using all that marketing money to put these issues in people's face. Like, what's being affected? Like, stop trying to scare them and show them. They got to get back to telling the truth, man, if they ever told it. But the pandering shit is dead. Niggas is on some like, you can't pork chop and hot sauce and twerk me to death.
And collard greens in the bath, so yeah.
Not work hard enough this time.
None of that. I think like they said it somewhere on there about the bubble that they've created. And like I think part of that goes back to like the intersectionality and how I think they've created too small of a niche to have mainstream support. I think they need to kind of reach back out, lean more on some of the progressive ideals as far as like just individual freedom and like overall just rights for Americans, and kind of push more for everybody instead of just this one small group that I think you can see the support is waning because it doesn't represent a majority of people anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think in addition to what these gentlemen said, they gotta like the identity politics is really hurting the party. Like it's way too driven on, if you're this, you're supposed to do this. Like it's way too divided by identity. And I think Democrats are gonna have to have a self-reckoning that they might be a little too progressive for the average American. Like a lot of what they push in that party, in the words of Trey, they're reading the kids the gay BCs. They argue against calling people like her versus he. They got to say they and these pronouns. Like a lot of people don't necessarily support this ideology, and the Democrats are steeped in it. And I don't know if it's reflective of, say, like the average voter in America, and it is hurting them to some degree. So, I do think the Democrats got to really reevaluate how they approach this identity politics situation, because they're out of touch with, Trump just actually, that's the crazy thing about Trump, is that he started out where he started, and he's only gotten stronger since. He's now won the popular vote for the first time out of 3 elections. It's like,
that's an interesting fact.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So it's like you can't ignore the reality of how things are really trending if you're a Democrat. Like, Trump has not gone anywhere. He's only gotten stronger. The people who support him have only increased. And if Democrats want to keep playing on the same playbook, expecting different results, that's on them. But the evidence is pretty clear. Like, this is not going to cut it moving forward. And they got to do better, man. They got to do better. These identity politics is killing. It's killing them.
Be the death of them, straight up.
Got it. And Johnny?
Yeah, I said I think like they need to expand their bubble outside of like the intersectionality is like the identity politics. I think that creates too much of a niche, and it doesn't represent the mainstream or the average American anymore. I think they've gone so far extreme that I think they find themselves almost mirroring a lot of the things they say they don't like, about the Republicans. And it's not, but I think, that's the reason Trump has been more popular amongst their bases. He's played that identity politics with the majority, and playing identity politics with minorities isn't going to, help you out as much unless we all can, like, unite together.
Gotcha. We will be starting super chats at 11:30 Eastern time. We got a couple in the back, but we're going to jump into this last ending question. I'll play this meme first, and then we'll kind of have a conversation.
The groups of people that voted for Donald Trump are very surprising. There was a lot of speculation about certain groups not doing well for Harris. So, for example, black men. But black men paced pretty much exactly with what happened in 2020. It was actually Latino men that were the huge problem. From 2020 to 2024, there was a 33-point swing. Biden carried that group by 23% in 2020. Trump carried them by 10%. And while it's not as extreme, Latino women were also 15 points better for Trump this time around. 39% for Biden, only 24% for Harris this time around. So somehow the demographic that the right and Donald Trump demonized the most are actually the people that carried him to victory. There are some other big surprises in here too, like the fact that Harris did 5% worse with women than Joe Biden did. Or there's the fact that first-time voters went heavily for Donald Trump. Joe Biden won by 32% with first-time voters in 2020. Trump won by 9%. That's a 41% swing. If you really dig into the information here, you see that Harris actually did much better with white voters than the previous two Democrats did, and she did much worse with people of color. But you have to look at the segment within the people of color because it was really Latino voters, not black voters. Look right here. She did 4 points better with black women and only lost 2 points with black men. It's negligible differences. It really was the Latino population and first-time voters that carried Donald Trump to victory.
So I ask y'all, why is the right winning?
I just think the left is losing more so than the right. And I feel like, we only got two choices, but I really think the left lost this with their extreme extremities. Most of America has been red for a while. Most of these states, they've been going the same way for a while. So, like, you got these new populations, new voters. It was a surprise with such, because they was yanking on the youth. But there's a disconnect, obviously, that they're gonna have to go in and find, because you got the youth, you got the Latino men. It shows that people don't really care about the prejudice things that Donald Trump or his supporters or people that speak at his rallies say. They just care about what they get out of it. They kind of disconnecting from the emotional or the character. Like, I don't like him as a person. And it's more so what can this person do for me? And so yeah. And then the media was very like biased and not. I don't know if y'all noticed. I mean, outside of Fox News, of course, but everything on the left, the media was all like very Kamala heavy, very biased, very anti-Trump, and like I said, kind of doing the same thing she did, which is fear-mongering and not like really educate the populace. And like I say, you tell somebody they can't do something long enough, they gonna do it just because that's human nature. So that's what happened.
Okay, gotcha. So we actually look like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got about 5 or 6 inside the back end of the chat. And so I'll start kind of bringing them up slowly, but I would like to welcome back to one of our favorites, one of our guys. You see Johnny, he dropped the salute. Alex, talk to us.
Yo, what's up? Can y'all hear me?
Alex.
Yeah, we can hear
Hey,
you.
give this nigga a round of applause, man. Look at this nigga Alex, man.
Hey.
Look at this nigga, man. Long time no see.
What's up?
Right. Right. Welcome back to the panel. You have been active in the chat. I did guess correctly. Going down by the moniker of Alex Orange, it sounds. What is your take? What is your thoughts? I know that you've had some critiques of the conversation so far.
I think it's very short-sighted. I think if you look at what happened globally, I think everyone wants to blame Joe Biden for the economy, but the economy sucked everywhere globally. And in addition to that, a lot of like incumbents who kind of were overseeing like the entire world that is worse during the pandemic, they also pretty much got voted out. So it's not even like Kamala Harris is something wrong. Like pretty much like if we're just following the global trend of the world, people are like, nah, we're all poor. Everything costs more money. We're going to just vote out everybody who was in charge. And unfortunately, Kamala got swept up in that. And yeah, I think it's just.
Do you think that she had some missteps? And if so, what would those be?
No, I don't think she had any missteps. I think she ran as good as a campaign as you could run, but like, unfortunately, like how we always see in America and throughout the entire history of the world, like it's a lot easier to kind of feed into reactionary people than it is to kind of like, hey, look at this complicated problem that's 3 layers deep. I don't give a fuck. I'm poor. And I'm gonna blame somebody, a migrant group or some marginalized group of people. That's what I'm gonna do, and that's what we.
But do you think that one could say that she did that exact same thing with Trump, especially when, like, let's just give like the Fox News, for example, when anytime she was pushed, or like even if it was like, do you have a critique of the time that you were with Biden and anything that you would change? Somehow it still gets redirected into like, well, Trump did this and Trump's the worst and XYZ, where it's still, i.e., still making a boogeyman out of it.
I wouldn't say it's making a boogeyman. Like I think that Kamala Harris to some extent, like she would have been criticized if she didn't outright say like Trump is a fascist or Trump is causing this, like his policies are causing this harm. Because at the end of the day, that's what politics are. It's a war of words. Like you want to enforce your political worldview against somebody else's. So if you go on in a hostile territory, like on Fox News and Brett Baer is asking you like loaded questions, it's no different than when Trump went on the black, what was it, like the black journalist meeting, and they were all asking him questions, and he got heated too. Like,
okay, so then if we move it out of the space of that, and then just say when she's on All the Smoke podcast, or if when she's on like the town hall with Charlemagne, and she does the exact same thing when pushed.
But like, so if you're saying that was a losing strategy for her, like why did it work for Trump? Like Trump was like, you know,
he's an anomaly. He's an anomaly.
But like that's what I'm saying.
Well, I think that he did. To me, I would just say I think that he did a better job marketing. Like I think a question that you did or a statement that you said was, and I've seen a couple people say this, like how can you get on her for not going on JRE, but Trump ducked the election? But the reality was that Trump had the momentum at the time, and for him, it's a lose going into the like doing. No, I said election, I meant debate, but going into a debate with Kamala, he lost. Like likely he was going to lose again. Like I think that inside a debate, she probably is going to fare better. But if he's spamming these platforms that get millions of views, that tap into a voter base in which has been activated, and as we see the youth vote, especially the white youth vote, has for the first time went conservative with Trump. I think that like it was more of like a specific intentional plan.
Not the whole, like it was just like young white males. But I mean,
Can I make one little small point too, real quick? Just one little small point as to Trump's perception. You know that kid in class who's so bad eventually.
In chat, back end, we getting to y'all. Everybody inside the back end of the stream, y'all. We're about to put y'all up.
You know that kid in class that's so bad that eventually, when they start disrupting the class, people just roll their eyes because they're so bad consistently. They don't even get in trouble. They don't even get sent out to class. They don't even get suspended. It's just like, you just bad and we gonna deal with it. And then some kid who never really is bad does one little thing and now they're suspended, got in trouble for something this other kid do all the time. That's Trump, man. He's established a clear like reputation that I won't be held to other people's standards. That for whatever reason, from a marketing perspective, the norm does not hold him to the same standards as other politicians, and he came into the game like that. That's just the reality.
Like I said, like the first thing I said when I came, I think we're all being really short-sighted. Like Kamala didn't lose because she didn't go on Joe Rogan. Like she didn't. Like she could have went on Joe Rogan and like resurrected Richard Pryor from the dead and did like a hologram tour with him. Like she was going to lose, period, because we're short-sighted, whereas the GOP and conservatives in general, they're long-term. Like they're going
dumb.
Like
it's not because of her. It's because we're dumb. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's not like you're saying because we.
No, like they're long-term. Like these
So it's
people
not on
are
her.
organized.
So it's not on her.
Like I said, like they're organized. Like period.
So it's not on Kamala. It's on us because we weren't able to, like, we were just going to be biased against her either way. So it's not like anything she could have done.
I'm not necessarily sure what you're saying, Trey, but what I'm saying is the GOP and the Conservative Party in general, I have to applaud them. They're very long term. Like when they lost, they didn't like boo-hoo, oh fuck, we lost. Like it's like, damn, what we got to do? We're gonna have to gerrymander a little bit harder. We're gonna have to pretty much repress the vote. We're gonna have to put these like federal judges in place. We're gonna have to win the Supreme Court. So, like that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, like they laid down the groundwork from like years ago, honestly, and all this came into place. Like I mean, you gotta commend them on having like a very bulletproof plan. Like you can't come up with a good enough strategy in 3 months that's gonna combat like an entire political apparatus that took years and years to develop, So
nothing's Kamala's fault.
I'm not necessarily sure why you're harping on it, Trey. I didn't say that.
Because you're not criticizing her. You just keep talking about like her circumstances, but you're not criticizing her at all.
Yeah, you're right.
It kind of comes off as like
Kamala. I am congratulating the GOP on being master strategists. Like, why do I need to criticize somebody?
Because I criticize the left, I criticize the right.
Because that's
but people on the left, they only criticize the right, and it comes off as it comes off as disingenuous.
It doesn't need to be this polemic, Trey.
I think do you think you might be biased because you both have Caribbean background?
We're biased because we both have Caribbean background. What does that have to do with
I mean, because
you might be biased.
All right, so fellas, we're gonna stay on the topic. Let's kind of exit right to that version of the conversation. But what I will do is we're going to start bringing up the guests in chronological order. First up, we do have Natasha. We're going to welcome a lady to the panel. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Kind of let us know if you want some back and forth with it. If we can give it to you. Give you 3 minutes. And then I'll pull up the next guest. We got 1, 2, 3. We got 3 that's in the back end. And after that, we'll kind of have just a group conversation. So bringing up Natasha, talk to us.
You giving me 3 minutes to what? To say my piece, or you have a question for me?
No. So I imagine, and I've seen you in the chat. So you have been engaging with the conversation. You've been talking. Whether you want to use these 3 minutes for questions that you have for us, response to anything that we're saying, if you want to address the topic at hand, it's completely up to you. This is your freedom of what you want to do with the 3 minutes.
Okay, so I like what you said, Alex. I think that's a good point. I think it is really unbiased, right? I think it's the point to the two parties, right, and how they work. And so I like the point that you made. I do want to say that I feel like it was doomed from the very beginning. I didn't think that she would win because I feel like almost it seemed like, which is all in my feelings, which I say we do a lot. It was almost like a setup, like what Gerald said about Biden being just like Trump. It was about power and greed. He should have stopped a long time ago. He knew, they all knew that he wasn't. And so he should have, from the very beginning, not continued another one, so we could have had an opportunity to decide who we wanted to be. And so him waiting for 105 or 107 days we were doomed from the very beginning. It was unfair for her, for the Democratic Party. It was terrible. So I didn't believe she was going to win. As far as everybody keeps saying the Democratic Party keeps pandering towards Black people, they all pander. It is politics. That you guys just sat here and talked about marketing and doing all these different things. I don't understand when Black people keep saying that the Democrats keep pandering to Black people. All of them pander. Like MAGA pandered to poor. When Donald Trump came out, he was pandering to the swamp people, right? To these poor white people that were never voted before. That was his base that he went to. There was these poor white people that nobody paid attention to. That's who he was talking to. He was not a part of the establishment. He was this businessman. They loved him. He pandered to them. So politicians pander to the group of people that they want to. So when we as Black people keep saying that the Democratic Party keeps pandering to Black people for our votes, they're not doing anything for us. I don't understand that, because they all pander. They're politicians. So what is you guys, I would like to know. We know what the problem is.
30 seconds.
What is the solution? Tell me what your solution is.
Accountability.
Can I respond?
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. This is crazy. All right, so Natasha, we'll keep you up as everybody begins to answer. I just want to make sure that we go to Trey first. This is the first. Would this be blackmail accountability or?
No, none of that.
Oh, damn.
Well, this is right here.
Okay,
like,
my bad.
Like, how I brought up with Alice, it's like, is there anything you can say to criticize her? She's like, nope, no criticism. We're talking about them. That's a lack. That lack of accountability isn't going to make Kamala any better. And then over here, we're talking about the Democrats pandering, and then Natasha, ma'am, you're talking about, well, the Republicans pander too, and that's just a deflection of accountability that is, we just see it so much in our community, in our community when it comes to stuff like Kamala was pandering. Okay, Trump brought out Hulk Hogan. Yeah, but we're talking about how embarrassing it was when she brought in Megan Thee Stallion twerking. Like, I'm not talking about Hulk Hogan right now. We want to address this. So at the end of the day,
Trey, what is your issue? It's like
what's my issue?
It seems
Logic
like you have the whole
you just need
time.
to hug. That's all.
Huh?
I'm not emotional like that, bro. I'm just too logical. I'm like a robot, like Kamala is set. That makes sense.
I mean, the whole time, like, they've been asking you very specific questions, and I'm not taking accountability. I asked a very specific question. We know what the problem is. What is you all's solution? Because people keep saying that the Democratic Party keeps pandering. And my point is politicians pander. That's all I'm saying.
You see how that sounds deflective?
So I guess if I was to attempt to address your question, I would say that the pander that is happening now isn't the correct pander then, right? So I think that instead of bringing out like Meg Thee Stallion and Glorilla and XYZ, even if you went like routes of just bringing out people that might quote unquote be of more regal status in the community, I think that would be a great pander. If we're talking about pander, I specifically, I would think that being almost policy based in the pander, where, for example, a part of her agenda, you have like the new home buyer tax incentive that she had. Panda, if you're going to pander, then I think that you could probably highlight how this can impact young Black kids coming straight out of college. I heard you say two, so I'm guessing you went to Howard, maybe, or you're in the DC area. No, you in the DC area, Baltimore? Oh, you had I heard a two, so I thought that
I'm from California, actually.
Oh, they say two like that too. I thought that was the Baltimore DC thing. But
been in Carolina too long.
Yeah. But so yeah, to me, I would imagine that pandering to the demographic in ways outside of low-hanging fruit will probably be beneficial, especially if now we're getting to a point where we're pushing back against that because it makes us feel like, quote unquote, we're foolish.
Are we pretending like Donald Trump didn't like simulate fellatio on a microphone? Like what are you talking about, bro?
Are we gonna act like Kamala
I
Harris
agree.
is
I don't. No, again,
like okay, but this quick question.
But
name
I
one
agree,
person
but
with more
sometimes
class than Michelle Obama that Donald Trump had on his stage. Oh wait,
say it again.
Name one person with more class than Michelle Obama that Donald Trump had on any of his rally stages.
I don't think
we
that
talking about Gorilla and Meg Thee Stallion.
But I get it. But my issue is that like if we're talking about voter apathy, we're talking about like a hyper amount of like black, especially when we get into like the 30 to 40 range of people that are kind of like divorcing the Democratic Party. A lot of it comes down to a lot of very similar roots where it ends up being like the low-hanging fruit pander part. And to me, I'm just answering that part. I think that we can also address two things separately. So I think almost the example that G gave is a great example in itself, where I don't know if Trump appealing to white America and white America being the biggest majority base inside America and what that panda can do is as beneficial to making sure that you do hit the mark with the panda that you do if you're the Democrats. When it comes down to black, Latino, and like liberal voters in general. Because if you like Donald Trump has room and margin to actually air it. He can go to he could be a garbage man one day, he could be a McDonald's worker one day. He can be he can be rich, he can be poor, he can like pretend he got shot. He can do all these things. And like he's just like doing almost like the shotgun method, right?
The margin of success is pretty much based upon the population, the electorate that you're pandering to. Because, like I said,
depending on what version of like if you're going the panda route and like your policy isn't something that's going to hit across the board, like Obama, in my opinion, his panda was way broader. We coming off of George Bush, change. We want a new America. That's kind of the same thing that Trump went on. Change. We want a new America. Like it's a very broad panda. In comparison, the Meg Thee Stallion panda is like so small. And it's very specific, and it turns off so much of your base. A Black.
When you run a political campaign, everybody has to market. You got to market a different demographics, especially the ones that you need to win. The marketing becomes pandering when it becomes disingenuous, and that is the issue with the Democrat. Is it seems forced, it seems disingenuous. From Hillary eating pork chops, putting out hot sauce, to Kamala talking about smoking weed and listening to Tupac after he was dead, and like it just they go to these different spaces and they become who they're not instead of just being who they are.
Republicans, a billionaire working at McDonald's, like what are you talking about, Abel?
Can I finish?
That was a response to Kamala lying.
That was a response to Kamala. As far as what Trump is doing is what politicians have been doing all the time, going to the ground during campaign with the working class people, showing up in places.
Okay.
Oh, I wouldn't expect him to be there. Politicians have been doing that, so I don't think that is more so pandering versus I'm trying to connect with the lower base to show them that I'm not too rich, I'm not too powerful. I'll come and put this McDonald's. Politicians been doing that. Now, if he would have went to a chicken and waffles house and put on a do rag and shit, then it would become like forced. And
I'll take that.
So it's like the Democrats are like forcing it down your throat. With like, we do this too. We don't late night show. We drink beer too. We do this too. And it's like, what are y'all?
Thank you. I appreciate that. That makes sense. I understand that.
Okay, Natasha, I'll bring you to the back end. I'd love for you to stick around. After we bring up all the rest of the guests, we'd love to have just a group conversation. So nonetheless, great question, great conversation. Again, bringing them up in chronological order. We got two more in the back end. the last two. These are two favorites. But first, Mr. T Money, has been a while since we've seen you. But he is another early. He was like an early adopter of Unpack. If I'm thinking correctly. Talk to us. What's your thoughts?
What's up? I mean, I think the Democrat strategy has been stupid in the sense of they just figured that Trump was so disgusting as a person that if they almost did nothing, they could win the election. And I don't even really have an issue with somebody being Republican. My thing is if you're a super supporter of Trump, the president or the human being. And a part of my fears, of course, is just that he does whatever to pander to the white man, especially the poor white man. Trump gave his strategy, I mean, decades ago now. He said on Oprah, what was that, in the 90s? That he could win any election anytime he wanted to because he would just get the poor white man vote. So he gave his strategy of how he could do it, and he's executed it perfectly. And even the fact that this country could let him win a popular vote, electoral, okay, I can see you win in the right states, but popular vote is crazy. I mean, again, it's not about being Republican because Congress is Republican. The Supreme Court is Republican. So obviously Republicans have a good plan, but him, the person, a convicted felon. So pretty much we don't even need that on job applications no more. Do not put that on job applications anymore. Are you a felon? Because if a felon can be president, I can work at Wendy's. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this, T Money, or did you have more points you wanted to kind of unpack?
I know you can ask me real quick.
So do you think that there is a space where a person could vote for Trump or be a Trump supporter in good faith? It sounds like, in essence, you kind of have like a heavy hand that you swing at anybody that's a Trump supporter. Maybe voted for Trump. You're cool with Republicans, but not necessarily people that are a fan of Trump or voted for Trump or Trump supporters. Do you think that there can actually be reasons that a person could vote for Trump in good faith?
I don't think so, because he's disrespected, or I mean, pretty much every group that's not white. I mean, he just had his comedian at the Republican spot, diss Puerto Rico. He had the Muslim ban when he was president. We already been through that. I mean, he's pretty much dissed every group out there. You sexually assault women, touch on you. I mean, you said you wanted to slide on your own daughter. I mean,
no, he didn't say that.
Yes, he did.
I mean, not those exact words. He was like,
he said if his daughter was not his. He said if his daughter was not his daughter.
So then how did he want to slide on his daughter? Because it wasn't his daughter. He said, if it wasn't my daughter, you saying I want to slide on my daughter. You see how that's why the Democrats. That's why the Democrats about. No, but that's why the Democrats about to lose, bro. I'm not trying to defend it, but like if a man says something,
you have a daughter,
change his words up.
There's no dad in the world that's looked at his daughter and said, "Oh, if she wasn't my daughter."
But just say what he said.
My daughter, she kind of bad. I'd probably pop. That wasn't my daughter. It's a wild statement.
I mean, it's a wild statement, but it doesn't. It doesn't need.
No dad in the history of the world has ever said that.
My bad, Trey. Do you got a sister?
That's beyond.
Trey, you got a sister.
I don't want to get into no personal shit.
Like, imagine if your pops was that. Listen, you don't even gotta like go down the line. It's a crazy thought.
It's a crazy
acknowledge
thought,
that, though, right?
I'm saying embellishing a person's words and saying they said something that they literally did not say is why the Democrats are losing.
Okay, that's not the equivalent to what he said.
It's not. You're right. That's slander.
That's like saying if my cousin wasn't my cousin, she could get it.
Oh, and is that the same thing? Is that the same thing as saying my cousin can get it? Is that the same thing as saying my cousin can get it?
All right, fellas. I don't even know if this. Hey, fellas, Trey is a wild boy. I don't know if this is like the most interesting spot that we can have the conversation at. So I guess I would like to redirect for a quick second. So panel, I know that y'all like we have some people that might be or might teeter close on the line of being a Trump supporter, might have voted for Trump. I don't know, but I guess I would toss into the air anybody that might lean closer on that side of support to address kind of the statements that's been said. and kind of having quick little back and forth. I think we got like a minute and a half left on the clock.
But to say Trey's point, Kamala did have flaws, and she did have a bad game plan.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Was that hard? Like, see how, you know what I'm saying? Like, a person that's an independent can criticize both sides. That's why I rock with independents. But when you hear somebody on the right, like a Democrat only points out racism on the right, and a Republican only points out stuff on the left. But the independent, like, they see that both sides are full of it, and that's why I rock with that. And it comes off as disingenuous when you only want to like avoid accountability on your own hand and then point out everybody else's flaws. It's like, bro, if left or right, get out of here, man. Like, we see what you're trying to do. You're biased.
And if you talk about
T-Money, I guess just making sure. You didn't vote for Kamala, right?
Who, me? Yeah, I did.
Oh, that goes against what Trey said. Hey, Black, I think you wanted to get in there.
But I do consider myself closer to
independent.
Like, I will vote for anybody. It's just wasn't going
to be true. So I want to allow A Black to kind of respond to the conversation about Trump support, but I guess also it would be interesting after he responds to hear inside your closing what made you vote for Kamala. A Black.
You saying respond to Trump support?
Yeah. Well, or like if I T-Money. Make sure that you correct me if I misquote you or say it incorrectly. But I think that there was no good faith way that he could see somebody supporting, being a fan of, or voting for Trump in any way.
The person.
Is that
not
the person?
The
yes.
person, not the. Like I said, there's nothing against Republicans. I voted for Kamala, but I do consider myself independent. Like, I could vote for a Republican. It just wasn't going to be Mark Robinson, and it wasn't going to be Donald Trump.
So nonetheless, Trump as the as who he is as a pop.
Yeah, my response would be I could totally see why. He's America, man. Like, America to me is racist. Is people try to put this cloak on as like good and wholesome, but this shit is Gotham City, and he resonates with them because he is the nastiness of America, and he really is American. Like, the worst parts, the good too, but he really embodies that shit. And like the way he is how people are. People are not really politically correct and put this mask on. They curse, they drink, they do these things, and he's representative of that reality of America. That people are kind of naive about. Like, he's that. Like, that's what America is. Donald Trump is capitalist, it's overdacious, it's braggadocious, it's weird at best. That's what the shit has been. Like, the brand of America. Now, it might be not what it is literally, but he is the brand of America, and it resonates with a lot of people.
I'm sure.
So I'm not really surprised when people are like, well, how could you vote for him and stuff? Because he's them. Like, people are mean. They are nasty. Everybody's not these like good people that CNN want to make. Oh, we're good, hardworking people. These people suck. This is Gotham City, and we have a spiritually corrupt and morally bankrupt country. Stop acting like these people don't suck. They're not dumb. They're not really educated. And why are you surprised that this guy could win? Because like the dude said, he said it years ago, he can tap into this shit, and he did it. He does pander to his people. He don't pander to us because we're not really his base. He needs some of us, but he knows who his base is, and he connects with them. And so I don't understand the surprise of like, how could you do this? Like, that dude, American, for real.
Gotcha. All right, T-Money. I guess in closing, just let us know what made you vote for Kamala, and then we'll bring up our next panelist.
I mean, part of it was, the reality of the situation, that as much as you can, love the other candidates or the Green Party or independents, it's hard for them to win. And I think part of it was just that I feel like Kamala didn't really say the wrong things, or she didn't really say nothing that I felt like was going to hurt me as a person, because that's how I vote first, and then the country. But I do think that it could be more negative things that Trump could do to me, one as a Muslim, and two to the country as a whole. So that was part of it, and then it wasn't really any independent that I could really connect with. Not Cornel West or not I can't think of her name. The lady that
Jill Stein.
Yeah, Jill Stein either. But if it would have been an independent that I could connect with, or I mean, I would have voted for them. But I think the Democrats messed up the most by, again, like G said, Joe Biden being selfish and not giving us a chance.
All right, gotcha. All right, so again, stick around if you'd like to after we bring up the rest of. It look like we got 2 at the moment in the back end. Again, we'll have a group conversation. Try and keep it as civil as possible. I appreciate the conversation, T Money. Another favorite. We got another favorite to the conversation. I'm gonna put 3 minutes on the chat. This is a more than just a panelist. This is an after show veteran. One of the favorites. Never know where the conversation is gonna go here, but I will go ahead and start with we're going to keep this non-ad hominem and staying to the topic at the moment. It's no guesses for the family. Talk to us, my brother.
What's good, dog? I thought it was Kobe.
Nah, it's for the family. It's the guy,
word, man. What's the word?
What's going on?
What's good? What's good? Hey, yo, congratulations,
what's the word?
man.
I thought you was tricking me for a minute. Hey, man. Hey, you know what? I want to say congratulations to the family, man. Y'all don't realize what we're doing out here?
Yes, sir.
We executed step 1. You know what I'm talking about? Now we get to see we can move a little power around.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm talking about? And we look minimal power is possible. Like we exuded like less effort than anything. We ain't even did nothing yet.
Don't take much.
And then impacted the whole damn world so far. We got niggas popping out the woodworks.
All right, so I guess for the family, I guess I'll ask you the topic, and you can kind of go wherever you want to with it. Trump won. Now what? Should we be scared? Are we overreacting? Did Kamala fail or did Trump win?
Kamala was she was born a failure, and shit, Trump. You know, Trump. He ran his course too. He's weak, right? This is what we about to start. We about to start using all these niggas, blue and red, to our advantage. G. Right? You know, right now we running through the field right now. We're doing everything in righteousness, whether you like it or not. You know what I'm talking about? We made a demand for our land, trying to save it, right? Next thing we're gonna offer them, something they can't refuse, and after that is war.
When you say we're going for something they can't refuse,
this shit back.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Reparations.
Okay, got you.
Separation, reparations, isolation. Yeah.
Okay, and I guess speaking to that point, then, do you think that Trump would be, or are you saying after Trump, or would you say that Trump is a candidate that would actually get?
No.
Are you
Trump kind of messed? Trump won a little too well, right? We did a little too well, right? Because now Trump. These crackers ain't got nothing to fight for now. They can't bitch about close this, and they got nothing to fight for now, right? It was a landslide. So now they got to deal with us. We did exactly what we did with the Civil War right here. We helped these bitches out once again against each other. That's what we did right here. So now
and so all right. So you're saying that in how we helped with this election, they're gonna levy. We'll be able to levy reparations. Is that what you're saying?
We're gonna levy the whole damn thing. Yes, reparations is a part of it. Separation and reparations. I mean, it's right now I see like silver or lead right now. Like cool. They got their little shit back in their minds, but Trump old as hell. He gonna die soon. So I mean, it is what it is. We need to get everything we can get out these crackers before they gone.
How old is that, man?
Gotcha. And so I guess we got like 45 seconds left. So in winning this election, it sounded like you said Trump going to die off. So I guess with Walls,
we won this election. So I tell you what.
I just want to ask, how do you see over the next 4 years? It sounds like you're saying that it should be a plan for reparations, and then after that, you're saying isolation. How do you see reparations kind of going off? I mean, how do you see it happening over the next 4 years?
Exactly how we subscribed it. Money and land. And we slowly gonna push off from this shit. We're gonna leave it to them. We're gonna give it to the immigrants, right? And it's kind of funny. They're kind of crying and shit right now. Like, it don't even matter no more. The tears, say them tears, put them in a bottle, and help us get some money. Get on our side while you got time. Y'all done shake your ass and showed your ass, niggas. You know.
Gotcha. All right, so again, that is for the family. Shot clock then went off. I'm gonna bring you to the back end, but again, you already know you're a favorite to the show, so I'm gonna take you back. Afterward, we're gonna bring up everybody for a group conversation, but we got another favorite to the pod. We got two favorites that's left. So Unc, we're gonna bring up Unc. Ses Majid. Unc, talk to us. What's your thoughts? I imagine you've heard enough of the conversation.
What's good, Unc? I know you voted for
What's
Kamala.
happening, everybody?
What's going on?
What's happening? Yeah, what's going on? You know I voted for Kamala.
Yes,
Anyway,
all right, 3 minutes on the clock. Talk to us, Unc.
Yeah, my thing is this right here. I'm not afraid of Trump being in office. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to. Project 25, this, that, whatever. Whatever they're gonna do it regardless whether he was in office or she was in office. When people have power like that, they're gonna have power regardless who in office. All president is the figurehead anyway. You know, they had the right to appoint the judges and things like this, but the only thing right now that people got to be concerned with is the you know what I'm saying, because you're about to have 2 Supreme Court judges that are about to retire, right? And with Trump in office, the whole Supreme Court is going to be Democratic now, damn near. You see how they turning things back and going, you know what I'm saying? They can go whatever way they want to with things, but I'm not afraid because, you know, what is it to be afraid of? You're going to live your life. You're going to keep going on. You're going to keep doing this, that, whatever. Kamala just was Kamala. You know what I'm saying? She didn't get the right people. And everybody's saying about the Latino. People got to understand about Latinos. The majority of Latinos are Catholic. You understand what I'm saying? And being Catholic, you're going up against a lot of things that the Democrats are saying. Democrats say a lot of things that people, you know what I'm saying, people go from the heart when it comes to religion. So, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, of course they're going to go against what you said. And if you look at majority of these political shows, the majority of them, I'm not being funny, but a lot of them are hosted by gay men, black men. And people, and certain people just don't want to hear from them. They're like, fuck this motherfucker. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Even if he's saying right, because of and you know what I'm saying? They just don't want to listen to him. And that's just how it is sometimes, you know?
Preach.
That's just how it is. The people out there, them Latinos ain't playing that because they're going from what they believe God want them to do. And God don't want them listening to these gay black men. I'm just being honest. It hurt them, really. That hurt them a lot because it makes it seem like the only smart men out here that can talk about politics and things like this are gay black men.
45 seconds. Keep on.
That, you know what I'm saying? But besides that, you know, congratulations, Trump. You won. What we're going to do now? We're going to keep living. We're going to keep going on. Ain't nobody worried about that shit. Why people out here crying because Kamala lost? Fuck Kamala. You know what I'm saying? She was going to do what she going to do when she got in office. Trump going to do what he do when he in office. So why is everybody even worried about it? What we need to do is worry about if we can get on one situation and get together and make things happen better. If they go better, they do. They don't, they don't. But you still got to work tomorrow. You still got to go and do what you got to do. So don't cry on it. That's how I feel.
And we saw we can raise millions of dollars. Women can raise millions of dollars. So why wouldn't we just start doing it in our own community? Like that's some good shit. We know how we can organize.
Exactly. That's it. It's nothing. Don't cry with spilled milk. Wipe it up and get you another glass. Go the hell on. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha, Unc. All right, so again, as I told everybody, I'm gonna take you to the back end. We got another guest, but Yeah, after all our call-ins, we will be bringing everybody up and just having a group conversation in general. So yeah, stick around if you got time. Needless to say, again, only person missing right now is that guy from South Africa. But nonetheless, we got Kofi to the panel. Kofi, talk to us. Another favorite. What is your thoughts? I know that you've been on the anti-Trumper on the anti-Trumper train for sure. I believe that you've been semi-pro Kamala. The election has came. Your thoughts, your reactions. I'm not sure how much of the conversation that you've caught, but yeah, 3 minutes on the clock. Talk to us, brother.
Well, I like to say, welcome back, Alex. Good to see you. Good to see you. Long time no see you here. I was just gonna bow out of this conversation like this for a while because I mean, there's a lot I could say about it.
You sound so sad, bro.
It is yeah, because I don't kiss white people ass like you do, so it's
I
good.
said you
Yeah.
sound. I said you sound
hey,
sad. Damn.
So,
Hey,
I
fellas,
said you sound
fellas.
sad.
I'm not
So-
playing
I
no
was
more,
worried
man.
about
I'm
you,
not
man.
playing.
I get it. So just to make sure that
Don't point the bear, because you a woman.
so hold on, hey fellas, I just want to say, making sure that we
Lash it
again,
out.
I'll make sure that after show, I really don't care, but during the show, we got to keep it simple. We're going to abstain from any ad hominems, and we're going to just speak to the point. So, Kofi, I'm gonna unmute you, and then again, continue to the conversation.
It's towards fake people like him that say he's independent.
Let's stay focused.
No, hold on. No, hold on. I'm making an observation.
Kofi, again, let's stay any ad hominem. We want to stay away from it. I want to make sure I set this precedent for the entire panel, for the last 30 minutes of this conversation. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not going there. I'm just saying Alex made a point that I'm just piggybacking on. Right, and what Trey said, I'm piggybacking on. He said he's an independent. You have to be critical of both sides, and I did came on at the late end, but all I see is Trey getting upset for people not, getting upset at Kamala. You know what I'm saying, and what she did wrong, while at the same time he has no criticism for Trump. And I wasn't even going to come on here, but my whole thing that kind of raised my eyebrows, right, is that Mark Robinson, like, totally, like, North Carolina was like, nah, we not having him.
Yeah.
Because it's not happening. But at the same time, North Carolina want the white version of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you know what's going on politically as far as how these two men are and what their ideology is socially, personally, and politically, the two line up except for the trans stuff. But their ideology of who they are line up. So, but we just want the black version, which goes to my whole point, is that it's okay for this person to be extremely flawed because they're a white man versus a black woman, a woman of color who is way more qualified, who ran a pretty fairly good campaign. And for the first time, I was surprised that she lost the popular vote. That Trump won the popular vote for once, because Trump was never popular. He was never popular. So I find this what's happening is unprecedented, but at the same time, this shows that America is always going to prioritize a white man in charge. It's going to prioritize a leader in charge, and I don't think we're ready like most so-called first world nations who has had a female president. So I think it has to. The reason why Trump became popular again had to do with identity politics, had to do with her being a black woman and her being a woman. And she did a lot of things that I felt that she wasn't trying to repeat the whole Hillary Clinton thing. That I'm with her. She's like, they always try to paint her in that corner. She's like, no, I'm gonna be a president for all people. You know what I'm saying? She said, hey, people see me that I'm black. People see that I'm a woman. Why do I have to do that? I'm trying to be a president for all people versus Trump saying the eating the cats, eating the dogs, niggas like to carve watermelon, and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's all this shows to me that America is gonna be America, and like Jeremiah Wright said from the Boondocks, goddamn America, fuck America daddy, fuck America mama, America can eat a dick, and I'm out.
All right, Kofi, appreciate you.
Can I jump in there?
Oh, my
quick?
bad. My bad. G did have a piece of conversation for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add like because I did mention this in the group chat earlier how Trump did get the majority of votes in North Carolina, but then Mark Robinson lost by a landslide. So it's like people do have some sort of like logic as to why they support one versus the other. And I do agree with Kofi in that like Mark Robinson being a black man is less acceptable of playing this type of character versus a Trump. Now, granted, but it's like this is where I sort of didn't have to like it makes it sound like I'm defending, but it's not. It's just like the rhetoric is so extreme. To say Trump was never popular is a flat out lie. It's just a flat out lie. You could say he's never won the popular vote, but the last election he had over 70 million votes. This election he has over 70 million votes.
Even before that, he'd been popular.
I'm saying as far as I'm not saying he was never a popular person. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about electorally.
But I'm saying electorally speaking, the last election he got over 70 million votes. He had the
he lost a popular vote. That's what
but that doesn't mean he's not popular. Like he had the second most votes last election out of any president in history.
No, I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying disputing, but I'm just talking about electorally. If it was a real democratic system, we had to do electoral colleges due to slavery and shit like that. Trump would have lost every time except for this time. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying he was never popular.
Kofi, you're saying the second most popular president of all time in the voting wise is not popular. It sounds like that's what
my bad. I think that let's not get caught on the
nobody know.
Yeah, let's not get on the semantics. It sounds like semantics. He was talking about the popular vote when he said not popular. He didn't win the literal popular vote. That's all he was saying.
That's not what he said though. He said he wasn't popular.
That's what I said.
He just clarified it, so we don't even have to like
clarified it.
We don't have to like run the circle around it. He clarified it. He was talking about the popular vote.
Okay, but I do think the North Carolina case of how North Carolina can carry Trump but not back Mark Robinson. I do just wonder like what is it about Mark Robinson that's quote unquote so bad that doesn't apply to Trump? I'd be curious.
I think if Mark Robinson ran his MAGA campaign, his self-loathing, black, hateful campaign, let's say like a Tim Scott, right? Without the whole thing, I think he would have been more successful because he followed the nigga blueprint for a Republican. And I think if he didn't have that scandal, I think he would have won. But nah, you can't be, black people, we're graded on not graded on the curve. We have to be absolute perfect, no matter what. And goes to show one reason why Kamala lost. So, yeah.
Got you.
You think she would have been better if she ran as an Indian woman then? So she would have avoided the whole black thing?
Bro, I'm not. See, this is the thing about the anti-politics I don't like. You got niggas that say that Drake is black, The Rock is black, Tiger Woods is black.
Do you think she would have?
These niggas don't want to be black. These niggas are not considered black. And niggas don't understand how shit works. All of a sudden, Kamala Harris, y'all don't know how biracial people work. It's like, it's fucking stupid. It's fucking moronic. Tiger Woods don't want to be black, but y'all niggas accept him to be black. Dwayne The Rock Johnson doesn't consider himself black, but y'all niggas adopt him as black. But all of a sudden, Kamala, is she black? She not black. It's fucking
That's
stupid.
That's not what I said, bro. I said
all right. So Trey, restate kind of where you at. Go ahead.
If it's that difficult to run as a black person, and she has an Indian background, she was raised by an Indian woman, all that. Do you think that if she ran as an Indian woman, she would have been more successful is what I'm asking. I'm not trying to get into Tiger Woods and all that, but if she could have ran as the way she was raised, do you think she could have avoided all this extra scrutiny?
Your question is if it's genuine, is loaded with ignorance, because what I'm speaking towards, you said how she was raised. If you know anything about Kamala, besides her being a woman and Indian, you can see that her Indian mother and Indian father was here fighting during the civil rights era, right? Her mother raised her as a black woman, knowing that this country would see her as a black woman. So to answer your question, it's a question you're asking that's not in reality.
If she ran as an Indian woman, would she be subjected to
fellas,
scrutiny, bro?
Trey, I understand the question to Jackson. I think that Kofi is going to deny the premise of the question, and it'll be a loop. Alex, I think that you was about to say something.
Oh, I was just going to speak on Mark Robinson. I think what happened with Mark Robinson is an example of, like, it's, I guess, being kind of filling the role that he was doing is only expedient up until, like, it doesn't cost him anything. Before the scandal, he was already like losing by double digits to Stein, and then once the scandal came out, it was like nope, and they yanked the money away from him. And in addition to that, just the overall, like, Trump is like, nah, he's radioactive, and pretty much reverberated. And I honestly think if Trump said, like, hey man, he's good with me, I think that would have probably, saved them a little bit. But I think they kind of all made a calculation that, like, for whatever they could gain in, North Carolina, it's not worth all the money they were probably going to waste on him anyway. So,
yeah, I will say Trump did say that he was the MLK. Well, actually, better than MLK. He did say that.
More.
That was his, that was his endorsement. But nonetheless, horns for Alex. Back on the panel, but again, I'm gonna start bringing up panelists that have already been here. I'll kind of do it inside chronological order. So Kofi, I'm gonna take you to the back, and we'll kind of like slowly start dripping everybody in. So we'll kind of start here in the conversation. Again, only rules that I'll kind of like set would be we're gonna adhere away from any ad hominems. We're going to stay away from any derogatory comments towards any race, creed, X, Y, Z. And let's have a conversation about the conversation that is at hand, which is Trump, Kamala, the election and its impact on America. Natasha, you started off the live chat, so I'll kind of like give you the floor at the moment. And then from here, fellas, as everybody seems fit, let's have a conversation.
I think Kofi just made a good point that I don't think came up before. Trump ran against two women both times. And I wonder if he had ran against men, if he would have won either time.
He ran against Biden.
He ran against Biden. So
he lost against Biden.
Okay, no, I'm sorry.
He put Biden out of commission, baby.
I'm sorry. It was Hillary.
It was Hillary.
Biden.
It was Hillary. So Biden beat Hillary. Okay. My fault. Okay.
All right, panel.
I mean, really, he ran against so many different like candidates. Hillary was just like the last one left.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I guess my concern.
So my concern really, I think for me in this election and the season that we have is really for like the men, especially our Black men in you all's age group, right? That seem like disenfranchised with this whole process, right? Like I don't know if you guys are pulling out of it or if you don't feel like it's for you. I'm not sure. There's all this talk about it. I have a son that's 28 and he's like, he doesn't feel like, that there is a platform for him. Right. And so that's
what do you mean when you said it?
Listening to you guys. I think he says the two-party, process is, is
he's a separatist. Yeah, he wouldn't. He's figuring it out.
He's talking about the same thing about, reparations and what's there for Black men. But my question though my question to him though, like,
can you answer that question? Do you disagree?
No, my question to him and to the rest of the people is like, how involved are you guys in other voting practices, right? Not just the national election, but do you know who your representatives
talking about
are?
local, city, state?
How involved are you in the whole process, right? Like,
Well, ain't nobody talking about reparations though.
They aren't. So do you disagree
We
with
want, we want the money. We want the money, sweetheart. What do you recommend we start at?
where does that start? That's what my question is for you guys.
We
Like,
got to
it
create
doesn't
our
start
own.
here.
Yeah.
It has
You
to
gonna
start.
ride with us? You gonna
I
help
mean,
us?
you tell me how we get involved with that though. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
I mean, are you
Like,
gonna be down? Are you gonna be down with it though?
I let me tell you something about me. Like, I believe that I'm a separatist for real. Like, I think we
Well,
can have
shit. Come on, welcome home
our
then.
own stuff. Like, I'm not. If I was, I'm 53 years old, but if I was during the segregation,
Yeah, you halfway to the sunset. Shit, you might as well get on in.
I feel like if they don't want me at the table, I'm gonna make my own table. Well, it's clear that we
See,
do our
see.
own stuff and we can create and we can dominate. That is clear. They understand.
Okay, so look, dude, this is what we need, sweetheart. We need your brain to work with our brain to make this happen.
They get it. So all I'm saying is, you guys, we do a lot of talking, and then there's so many like divisive things. Some of the young men on here was talking about immigrants and all that. Like,
We don't really give a shit about them immigrants like that.
All right, fellas, let's stay to the point. But Natasha, I guess
how involved are you guys in more than just the national,
the presidential
what do you guys
election.
want?
We just changed the color of this nation. What do you mean? We just changed the election, didn't we?
No,
You see us working, don't you?
With all due respect for the family, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, if you could be more clear for me.
Did you vote? Okay, I got you. I'll be playing with you.
Please.
We got this cracker in office, didn't we? Against our women's wishes, right? We're not listening to y'all right now.
With the smallest margin of the vote.
Just hold on. I'm talking to her. I ain't talking to you, little Jamaican. I'm letting you know. We moving
Yo, this is this is about this fire.
So hold on, wait. And I got you also, Alex. So again, we're gonna reset the room, and I'll just but again, we're gonna actually try and have like a very civil, regular conversation.
But he didn't call on his name.
I think. So again, Trey, like you're trying to defend, like let's just have a conversation.
You're not having good faith right now, Trey. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So I think Natasha did actually. I think that Natasha asked the question. I do think that it is a fruitful question that we can toss to the panel in general. Outside of the general presidential election, how active are you when it comes down to actually building in a political sense? Or is it that we only come around and complain every 4 years?
I'm gonna be honest. That's one thing I do want to get better at is knowing, whether it's the more local stuff, because that's what more so affects our day to day. The Board of Education votes, the township votes. I don't know.
Mo Green won.
I don't know.
You're not ready to take your kids out to school yet.
Republicans running to Boston right now.
You're not ready to raise your own kids yet. Like, what we doing, man? This shit is done.
Johnny, talk to us.
What's the question?
Again, how active are you outside of just the presidential elections when it comes down to Black empowerment, reparations, whatever the sad thing is? Like, I think what is it? FBA and ADOS. I think FBA had a march on Washington last year when it came down to getting reparations and making sure, like on the political side. I think that ADOS is like something else.
I think you could call it just America. You call us America now, nigga. We ain't gotta be FBA.
Gotcha. But I think that in general, like there's been movements outside of just the presidential election when it comes down to Black empowerment and improvement. But there's also a bunch of people that just vote during the presidential election. Where do you land at?
I mean, I try to, like I said, last time 2022, I ain't get out for the elections, but I do try to do the midterms because I know that's an important. I had, COVID, I was a little disenfranchised this last cycle. Now, as far as movements outside of just voting, I don't necessarily consider myself a part of like an FBA movement or anything. So I don't necessarily, I just try to do the self-improvement and try to, do what's best for me, my
You
closest
just vote
family
your
members.
interest. I got you.
And, I think that's the best thing I can do for Black people right now is make my existence, the best possible.
A Black.
What was the question again?
Outside of presidential elections, how active are you inside the political process for Black people?
Outside of the election, how active in the political process? I'm not. I mean, for me, politics is, not where we hold any power right now. I feel like it's in education, it's in business, it's in gaining capital, it's in international relations, and you get those things elevated, and you get more power in politics because you can demand more, you can pull your resources. Like until you got some resources to really pull together, you're gonna be like a pawn to pander to. But you don't see a lot of other subgroups having to kind of be face of media, kind of be the face of minorities like us because they pull their resources, they have their focus in other areas. So I feel like politics, we got people in politics, we got Black senators, mayors, representatives all over, but it's like we got to kind of get back to educating our own. They try to take that out of the school system to focusing on other things, health, spirituality and shit. And it's like politics, what are you going to get control? We done had a Black president, we done had a Black vice president, we got mayors, governors. What's it really changing? Like, who do we want to be? I feel like we got to answer that.
Gotcha. Trey, talk to us.
Man, I'm not as active as I'd like to be, but when you get active in politics, there's a lot that comes with that. Like once you're a public figure, they dig into your life, they bring your family into it and everything like that, to where it's a huge burden. So I would say the most.
And I think she's speaking like specifically like voting, like if you're voting inside like your local elections and stuff like that.
Well, that's the problem, because the next step I hear from people who call themselves by their lineage of foundational Black American people that are behind that delineation. They say the next step after we get out of get these people out of position, like a lot of these boule people, a lot of them don't have our lineage, and they've been in power for a long time and they haven't really gained much progress. So after we vote them out, the next step is to run our own candidates. And I think that when I see some people who are reparations candidates and who we can see eye to eye, more like the Sandra Jackson Lee or the or what's the guy's name? The guy from South Carolina, the guy who said he didn't want anything after he helped get Biden elected. I can't remember his name. Nigga Jim Clyburn, America's favorite sharecropper, as Professor Black Truth likes to say. Like getting him out of place. Now we need to get people who have our interests at heart and back them. And there are some candidates that I've done some humble donations to their causes or what have you.
Okay, so you support inside like more of a financial sector, like grassroots blacks that are supporting the cause that you're into. Alex, talk to us. I got you.
Yeah, I guess from my background, my uncle ran for Senate in St. Thomas, so I'm kind of familiar with things where.
Where's St. Thomas? My bad.
The United States
of Virgin Islands, I think.
Alex, don't respond to him. Go ahead. I'm listening to you, Alex.
I just asked where the.
I mean,
it's a bad faith. Come on, stay focused.
But that's the thing. Like nobody likes me to talk. Like nobody likes me to talk.
St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, brother.
Hey, fellas, again.
You see how scared they are?
My bad.
You see how scared they are? They can't let me talk.
Hey, fellas, go ahead.
You can't let me talk.
Alex, go ahead.
That's how you know when you got power. Motherfuckers can't shut the fuck up when you're talking. But hey, let me break it down real quick.
Really?
My uncle ran for Senate and he won. And pretty much like I saw firsthand like what all that comes with.
It's in the Virgin Islands, by the way.
For
I figured as much.
On my
which is a territory of the United States.
I'm pretty much of the opinion. No, I'm not on the ground doing anything because to me that takes a lot.
You should be over there setting up an army force over there.
Can we let
fellas
finish his?
At some point,
again,
you just got admit.
No, that's what's doing. But so just to kind of set a precedent really quickly, and Alex, give me a second. Give me a second, really quickly. Just to set the room really quickly. So again, we do also have a couple sitting in the back end. If for unfortunate reasons, we can't allow and we can't control ourselves with either ad hominems or interruptions. Again, I'll just have to kind of send you back to the back end, and I'll bring up another panelist.
Save it for the after show.
But we do have to allow the space for everybody to articulate themselves inside a proper manner.
My apologies.
I just asked where it was. I honestly did not know.
Trey, we all understand that you know.
You don't have
just relax. Just relax.
You're
come
not
on, Trey. Just relax.
I asked Kofi how he was. He snapped on me. I asked, buddy, we're St. Thomas.
All right, go ahead, Alex. Come on, Trey.
It's a shame that they have to be muted and they're just not responsible enough. But like I was saying, I think you build coalitions of change through sustainable change, scalable change. I hear a lot of radical, extreme rhetoric on this show, and I think people conflate how radical and extreme you are with how much you're passionate about something. But all that is a coalition to pretty much for failure. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm not saying that to be angry. But my uncle didn't win the Senate seat by ostracizing people or outcasting people. You build a coalition of winners by bringing in people who want to, get to your goal. And I think the saddest part about what I see every day on this show, well, not every day, most of the times when I tune in the show, it's people who actually agree on the same things don't ever get to any logical conclusion of how we go about doing anything. Because more people are more agreed, more, I guess, what's the word? More fixated on being extreme than they are on actually building a winning coalition or developing a winning strategy. So just to answer your question, Natasha, I really think it comes down to can we as Black men do a better job of leading the community? Yes, but I think a lot of people think leading the community means you have to do something extreme or you have to do something crazy. Honestly, I was really impressed by all the Black women who were out knocking on doors, doing what they had to do. All the people texting people, no one thinks those little things help, but that's really what makes a difference in the long run. So, honestly, I think we can take notes from the GOP. I think those people, they don't give up. When they lose, they come back harder. And I think if anybody's discouraged or anyone's feeling oh man, what are we gonna do? I really do think it's just a matter of just mobilizing and doing something that's sustainable, doing something that actually builds a winning and inclusive coalition instead of just being extreme and propagandic all the time. But that's all I got.
Gotcha. Hey, Unc, bringing you back up to the top. Again, we got about 8 minutes left, so I'd love for you to pose a question for the panel of just wherever you're at inside the conversation.
But yo, Q, I want to jump in on that last question.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to jump on that last question, in terms of being involved locally. I want to say, in 2016, I was living in Amsterdam, and that's when Trump got elected. And like a lot of Black people, I was in awe. How did this happen? What's going on? And when we moved back to North Carolina in 2017, I had a mindset to get involved as much as possible locally. Went to the Durham Committee Affairs of Black People meeting, I went to all the major PACs in Durham, which is 80% Democrat anyway, which is a whole other conversation. But I went to all the major PACs in Durham, started shaking hands, meeting politicians. And I have to say, I was so disappointed just with these groups, with the people within these organizations. It really turned me off to local politics as a whole, bro. I cannot say, just in my experience, how much ego and self-interest is involved in these positions. And even on a local level, for me, it was such a huge turnoff that I immediately went to all these different groups and was you know what? That route won't be the route that I go to try and make a difference locally in my community. Because
hey, G, let me ask you this real quick. So in Durham, that means have you met Leo?
Leo was on the pod. I got an episode with Leo for sure. Mayor of Durham.
I guess, yeah, I guess inside that, because that's the only local politician that I know that's in Durham.
So this is why I respect Leo. When I came back, Leo was still a principal or working in the school system. You know what I'm saying? Like actually, and my wife actually helped him and his wife get their first property for their business front for Zwayle's.
The restaurant jump.
Well, when it was on 15501 in Durham. Yes. Okay. Shout out to one of the only Zimbabwean restaurants in the city, or really in the country, if we're being honest. But as a side note, Leo is an actual, he came up through the like a grassroots type of movement. I give him that credit.
Okay.
I give him that credit. Other politicians in Durham prior to Leo like running for his city council, then went on to go to mayor. I didn't really relate to other politicians the way I might relate to him. And I didn't feel the same type of energy either, if I'm being completely honest.
Can I ask G a question real quick?
Go ahead.
I wanted to say, I guess, because it's my kind of own thought process. Do you think that the problem that we have, you know, with the local politicians and being involved, do you think that's sort of like the same problem that we have, most of us have with the church, as far as feeling like the church isn't really involved in the community or really helping build the community bonds and getting to know people and reaching out, sort of like how I feel like that's an issue with local politics as well?
It might be similar, but I would say they're not really too close to the same, because when it comes to these politicians, like the church is so concentrated with like how you become a pastor, how you get these different positions in the church. Whereas like when you're running for when you're running for local offices, it's very much about access to capital and access to certain things that the everyday person, say in a Black church, would never have an opportunity to get access to. So from a political standpoint, I think it's very much different, because it's really about access to capital, whereas the Black church, that's not really a motivation for power.
Johnny, this is kind of your wheelhouse of where you like to be at. So I love for you to answer that question. Then I go to you. Go ahead, Johnny.
Again.
I think he asked like the parallels or similarities of politicians on the local level and the Black church.
Like I feel like the Black
and
church,
if it's letting the people down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I definitely I think there's less of a disconnect. I think because I mean, I've even seen here with like the local politician Braxton Winston, I've seen where like there's a little bit of more of a, like there's more hope there, and I feel like we can, you know, do a little bit of more change on the local level. Now, I will say this, I've seen some of the stuff a lot of these young Charlotte councilmen have done, and I don't necessarily agree with, but I still feel like we're gonna get way more change putting people in public office than we will, you know, waiting on the church. So I definitely, you know, I'm definitely a supporter of, you know, trying to make your local and making sure they connect. So I feel like we do that a lot. There are a lot of young politicians that have a lot of support.
Gotcha. And hey, instead of going to you specifically for a question, I'll kind of lend this as like the landing spot for everybody on the panel, just to kind of go around, give their final thoughts on the conversation, where they land at no more than like a minute and a half of just kind of a recap of your thoughts, your feelings, the election, Kamala, where we've kind of touched that in this conversation. Start with you, G, and we'll just kind of go around the horn for the family, and we'll bring you back up.
No, man, look, I'll keep it short and sweet. Democrats got to stop pointing fingers, blaming people for not voting for them. Accountability is key. What could you have done different? What do you need to do different moving in the future if you're trying to really get the Black vote, or not even the Black vote, but just win an election? You got to connect with the average American better than what you've been doing here currently.
Gotcha. Johnny, talk to us.
You know, I think, you know, at the end of the day, you know, there's still hope for us. I think this is an opportunity, especially if things didn't go the way you wanted it to. It's an opportunity for us to come together. Like for the family said, it's an opportunity for us to springboard, and not necessarily with the political process, maybe just, you know, coming together collectively and, making our own plans and our own solutions and looking, making our plan of what we want for the next, election. I think we have a great opportunity ahead of us.
Trey.
Man, ditto what G said as far as accountability goes. I think this wave of independent people that are Black people who categorize themselves as independents is the new wave. And this election here was the right direction into forcing our will onto parties to get something out of them. So the best is yet to come on there. And like Kamala says, we're not going back.
Okay. A Black, Charlotte legend, talk to him.
Yeah, man. I'm glad this thing is over. I hope that people kind of get more focused on real issues and really get educated, and just don't be kind of like another trend that passes. But as a community, we gotta get back to focused on building our own institutions, our own businesses, circulating our own dollar, and getting the reparations and things that benefit us. How can we do that? How can we use our power of influence and trendiness to like start trending for positive things and impactful things?
Gotcha. Alex, welcome back. But talk to us. Let us know your final thoughts, your wrap-up thoughts.
Yeah. Honestly, I do think I'll try not to be all doom and gloom, but I really do think that this is a situation where everybody needs to kind of like just take a second to reflect and come up with your contingency plans, really get your stuff in order, and just really figure out what you want to do next, because the new normal isn't what you think it is, and isn't what you thought it was. As I really fear for the sustainability of democracy in this country. I don't think it can withstand what happened last night, and I don't think it's going to be able to withstand what happens after like the Heritage Foundation drafted of like game plan for the first year of the presidency. I like to, I guess I wish I had the same blind optimism that everybody else has, but like once you understand what's going on, like I don't think these people are playing, and I just hope that everybody's safe. But yeah, that's all.
Got you. Natasha.
Yeah, I hope that we educate ourselves and we stop just listening to sound bites of things and do a little more research and start doing more critical thinking. Everybody has an opinion, but there are actual facts. Our feelings are not, always facts. So I hope that what we do is that we educate ourselves, right? And that we research things and not just take sound bites of things and run with them and make decisions on those sound bites. I hope that moves us in a different direction from now on, and that we do get involved with local things. When I asked that question, it was about, school boards, the judges, just the local things that really impact us on a local level, and that we should know about and have more information about real policies that affect us every day and affect our children and our futures. So I hope that that's what we really, really focus on and get educated with.
Gotcha. Appreciate you. T Money.
Okay. I would just say real quick, I agree with G. If you want the vote, earn the vote. Quit just thinking that the lesser of two evils game plan is gonna work. It's not. I don't know if they need to. I mean, at this point, the Supreme Court, Congress, and the president is all Republican, so they definitely have the right game plan at this point. So whether you need to go to the drawing board, whether you need to, even the Democrats, they don't even have anybody who they cultivating to be the young star of the political party. I mean, Barack was that for them. They knew Barack was going to be ready to be president at some point. I don't see anybody.
Listen, Byron Donald's going to be a problem inside like 4 to 8 years.
Okay,
he's going to be a problem.
He's Republican. He's Republican.
He's
not
Republican.
Democrat. He's Republican.
Yeah, he's a Republican, but he's going to be
What
the
about
problem that the
Westmore?
Democrats.
Are you guys following Westmore?
The grassroots
he's Republican.
No, he's a Democrat.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't know Westmore. I can check him out. I know that
Maryland governor.
on the Republican side, Byron Donald he's going to be a problem.
To me,
Maryland
Democrats keep
governor.
on seeming like they trying to sell us.
Hey, he a snake
He a tether
with his little white wife.
Listen, like
That ain't gonna work
however y'all feel about him, I'm just letting you know that he's going to be a problem.
He's Jamaican, Dominican. No, we can't work.
But hold on, wait, listen, my bad. I derailed T Money. That's actually my fault. T Money, go ahead and land your plane. Then we gonna get down to everybody. That's my bad.
Say,
Let's make it
for me, Democrat wise, to me, it keeps on seeming like they trying to sell. What's the Hispanic lady in New York?
AOC.
Yeah, it's to me, it seemed like that's who they trying to wait on, and it's like
I never seen the Mexican with African eyes, G, on my life. You see the eyes?
For the family, we got to stay focused. We're gonna get through this.
We almost there.
Yeah, T Money. It sounded like that kind of landed. Cess, talk to us, Unc.
Yeah. You were speaking about voting locally, and G, you know, that's messed up that you had to go through that with your local voting. You know, but with me, I vote when I vote. Like, I don't really care about the president like that, because you know what I'm saying. It's a limited power with me. You know what I'm saying. When I vote, I'll be voting because I go for the local things. Like we had the everything from the coroner to you know, like some of the people on the board of education, things like that on this election. So that's what I went to go vote for. The president, I don't worry about it because, you know what I'm saying, the president going to be the president. And I haven't had a good thing that any president has really done for me. I've never gotten any of them checks. I've never got any of that stuff. You hold this, that. I just let them do. My whole thing is who they appoint. And that's why I was saying about them appointing, you know what I'm saying, the Supreme Court judges and things that matter. Once you see now that he's in office, you're going to see that the whole Supreme Court, they, you know what I'm saying, it's all Republican. And if it's things that you want done, you have to do it locally, you know what I'm saying? Because even when I went to go vote, it was things far as, and it was something on there about whether or not
you double talking though, G.
What'd you say?
For the family. No, go ahead and finish your point out.
Excuse me? No, what did you say?
I'm saying you double talking. You said it didn't matter on the local, when then you went to the national, then you said you got to go back to the local. Let's check it out, right?
Hold on.
No, you check it out.
Again, go ahead and finish your point. For the family, we coming to you, brother.
What I'm saying is this right here. The thing is that the president does that right there. That's what you worry about with the president. But you know, even if it's Democrat could put the wrong people in there. So that I don't worry about that. That's why I'm saying with me locally, I worry about the things that's going on around my area in my town or whatever. I'm not worrying about, you know what I'm saying. I need things like streets fixed and things of that nature or whatever. And that's kind of like stuff that was on there. That's what I went to go vote for. I voted for the president because, you know what I'm saying, I just feel like that, you know, it was just time for a change. But if we saw America don't want change. America, we have a new America now. And we got what America wanted, and now let America deal with it. That's how I feel about it.
Shit, that's that old nigga shit.
So, Kofi, talk to us.
Yo, hold up, man. Stop being disrespectful, brother. Ain't nobody disrespect you.
I'm not trying to. You basically saying y'all deal with it. I'm gonna be gone soon.
Kofi, go ahead and hop into it. Again, fellas, we about to get through this. Y'all can hash it out in the after show, but we're gonna get through this. Kofi, talk to us.
Yeah, I kind of resonating with what Alex was saying, and I'm sorry, I forgot the sister's name.
Natasha.
With Natasha, what you're saying with Alex, with the whole blind optimism and the blissful ignorance, and Natasha with us getting involved more locally, you know. And Johnny said something like, you know, being involved with the midterms, and I commend G for getting involved, you know, him locally. So that is very pivotal. That's something that is needed. But the lesson that I've learned is not really a lesson that I've learned. I mean, America showed you who she was. It's just so, you know, she's a, you know, white supremacist. That's all that it is. But one thing that I've always said about the GOP, about the Republicans, they're like a fucking cockroach. They don't die, and I think that someone did say that, they come back and they fight harder. So after, Democrats and people that want change and things like that, after we lick our wounds, we have to find out, okay, where we went wrong. And I think one of the things, don't do it just like the GOP, just lie and double down on it, is you need a better propaganda machine. You need to message better, because what's going to happen is what's always going to happen. Trump is going to get into office, and it's going to and stupid ass motherfuckers is going to be on something like, oh my gosh, look, I'm doing so great 4 months in, when they're going off of a democratic economy, right? The economy right now is way better. We're leading in the G7, right? As far as the world coming back from COVID. But everyone thought that the economy was bad. Why? Because Trump kept saying the economy was bad, right? Because, he's a populist, he's popular, saying he's shining lights and shit like that. So people that don't look at the substance and see what they're saying, they're going to buy into that. So I think that, plus him being a white man and people, grading him on a curve, I think that's what led to the situation where we're right now. And Democrats right now, I think their problem is they need the message better. And that's pretty much it. I land my plane right there.
Gotcha. And for the family, you get to land a plane. Talk to us, brother. Let's stay at homonym free.
I'm gonna be quick with it. And homonym free, man. To each his own, right? I mess with you, right? Because when you really get out there, like in the locals, right, you get your heart broke, especially with black people, because you realize they in it for the money. They don't give a shit about us. Like, y'all just vote. That's what I was trying to tell old school. Like, you out there voting for pavements and shit. We trying to get some shit done out here. And when you trying to get some shit done, you realize that your people really not messing with you like that. They just trying to keep their little salary jobs and shit like that. They're not trying to do shit for you. They're trying to do some shit for the Asians and the Mexicans and all that shit. They ain't trying to do shit for you. You gotta break your damn heart trying to get some shit done out here for your own kind. With your own kind. Supposedly, anyway. That's why we checking shit out the door. So old school, it's no disrespect. I ain't trying to clown you or nothing like that. I'm just saying, like, you're voting just to vote. We're trying to get some shit done. And respectfully, I hope you can see that. We are not you. And that's how I'm gonna land it.
All right, so nonetheless, this has been a very spirited.
You're doing nothing. You're doing nothing except talking.
Hey, I love you. I gotta land this plane right here. And again, if y'all two want to hash the conversation out, hey, shout out to the Patreon that me and G just started. This is OTW, but this is where the after show lands. Yeah, this is where the after show lands at. And my two brothers, I love for y'all to have that conversation over there. G just dropped the link. Check the private chat.
Link in the private chat.
But nonetheless, I do think that this is a fair spot to kind of land the divisiveness of even the conversation with Trump, with Kamala, with the election, with everything that it has kind of involved when we start like going into the delves of, say, identity politics, and a lot of things that encompasses across the board. So nonetheless, this has been a very interesting, a very insightful conversation. Speaking to the idea Trump won. Now what? What do we do as black people? Should we be scared? Should we be overreacting? What did Kamala and the Dems actually do wrong? I think that we did our best inside this conversation to address it as best as we could. And nonetheless, panel, I appreciate y'all. Audience, we appreciate y'all. This has been the To Be Fair show with the G-ish podcast presenting Unpacked. Peace.
Like, scared, subscribe.